I'm also the lighting director. You see my light box and my glasses. I am the engineer. I'm the sound engineer. I am creating my own B-roll. I am the editor. It is a one-woman show. I do everything that you see here on this channel. And if you want to support PhD Chats at Chats with Petal, you will subscribe, and you will also ask a friend to subscribe and support this channel so that it's going to be huge and you will be on with me for the journey. So this is my first ever reaction video. I'm so excited. I have been wanting to do reaction videos on YouTube for quite some time. So I'm so glad that you are here with me, joining me on this journey. And this reaction video that I have been looking forward to making is it's a little special. It's almost a full circle moment because I am going to share a memory with you. Back in the 90s, right? Could be the very early 90s. I remember watching Oprah Winfrey on TV, and she was interviewing a woman whose name was Trudy Chase. And at the time, Trudy Chase was sharing her experiences living with what was then called MPD, multiple personality disorder. And it's called dissociative identity disorder, right? So I was young and I was fascinated. I was genuinely intrigued and fascinated about hearing this mental health condition that I had not heard about before. So the information that Trudy Chase was sharing was completely captivating. I was like, wow, right? And then, but that wasn't the only thing that stayed with me. What stayed with me was Oprah Winfrey. And we know that she is a gifted journalist, a television host, now a billionaire, right? But I remember watching how she listened. I remember she was not dramatic. She was not sensational. She wasn't just making inflammatory statements, which she could have to make the interview seem, more dramatic than it was. She didn't seem interested in the shock value or shocking the audience. She wasn't asking leading questions or trying to get what we would call a viral moment today. And I felt that Oprah was compassionate. She allowed someone to tell an incredibly difficult story while making the space for Trudy Chase, her guest, to feel safe. I felt that her questions were thoughtful. They felt genuine. She added a little humor. I think there was a joke she made at some point, asking her if, her voices or personalities talk to each other. And I felt that she really stepped back and gave Trudy Chase, this space to be heard. And I remember very clearly, it was two chairs. I haven't looked at the video intentionally before I'm making this video because I want to just draw from my own memory. Maybe when I watch the video, some of the details I'm mentioning now might not be exactly accurate, but what my memory is telling me that there were two chairs and they were like off-white chairs, and there was the audience. And I just felt something was special in that moment. And I remember saying to myself, I think that's what I want to do. I didn't say I want to be a talk show host. I don't know if I ever verbalized that specific profession as a goal, but I definitely knew that I wanted to do something like that, right? So fast forward 36 years, it's insane. And in many ways, this is the path where my life has led me, right? So for those of you who are new to my channel, I have worked in learning and development in corporate America. I've designed and facilitated professional development for educators. Today, I am a special education teacher. And now through PhD Chats at Chats with Petal, I think it's here, I am building a community where we can have thoughtful conversations, challenge ideas, learn from one another, and hopefully leave every discussion knowing a little more than when we started, right? Because we're learning from each other. So that brings us to today's interview, my very first reaction video on YouTube. So Keke Palmer has also been an inspiration to me for a long time as well. My clearest memory, probably the only film I can definitely name and name the plot was in Aquila and the Bee. Even as a child actor, she always carried herself with a confidence and intelligence, the way she spoke, her diction, her presentation, her emotional maturity. And she always struck me as a child that had an old soul, right? In like a young person's body. Her diction, her presence, and her authenticity have always stood out to me. Those are the hallmarks of Keke Palmer, and I believe that those are the qualities that are making her such a superstar today. So today, she's interviewing Oprah Winfrey, and it feels like a full circle moment. I'm getting to watch someone, Kiki's a bit younger than me, who also watched Oprah as a child interview her. And the student, in many ways, is becoming the interviewer, right? Because Oprah has interviewed hundreds, maybe even thousands of guests on her show. And now she's being interviewed by someone who would have been a child, or was she even born when Oprah began her journey as one of the premier talk show hosts ever in history, right? So before we begin, before I start sharing my screen, and I have not seen the interview with Oprah Winfrey, so we are going to be watching it in real time together. Before I begin, I do want to acknowledge one thing. Over the past couple of years, Oprah has made a few comments. She's conducted a few interviews that have left me with some questions, some concerns, particularly around how certain conversations involving people of color have been framed. And that's a conversation I think deserves its own video. So I'm simply putting a pin in it for today. So today I want to appreciate this moment for what it is. Two incredibly accomplished women, two generations of storytellers sitting down to have what I hope is a meaningful conversation. So if you are ready, let's watch it together, and you're getting my genuine real time reaction. So let's jump into the video, right? I want you to also give me a little room for error. This is my first time using this platform. My actual glasses broke. And so I'm using a bystanding glasses until my new glasses arrive. So I will work with this. We're going to have a great time reflecting on this video, and let's get started. She did. Yes. Wow. Okay. So it appears I have a small technical issue. I'm going to resolve it right now. It sounds like my audio from this secondary video is not, you're not able to hear it, right? So I'm going to take a quick minute, and I'm going to ensure that that audio is playing as well. And this is the great the great thing about having friends. I called a couple of my friends. I'm like, try to watch the video and just text me and let me know. My husband's also watching. He's like my backup sound engineer. So I'm going to ensure that you are able to hear exactly what's happening on my second screen. So I'm adding it to the stage, and I will attempt to do some secondary sound management. Okay, I think this is it. All right, if I am, it's now 1:32. I believe in never giving up and in second chances. So let me try once more and see what I can do default. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me do a quick test.
Or about life. We're getting into joy, love, purpose, friendship, and what happens when the woman who gave everybody else aha moments is still having a few of her own. Baby, this is Keke Palmer.
Okay. Awesome. Great. I love it. I'm seeing a second.
Presenting sponsor,
So
Seventh Generation.
we're going to do it again because I'm going to pause because this is how everything works, right? So I am seeing a secondary person on my screen, and I don't know who that is. This is going to be very entertaining to look back on. I don't know who this gentleman's, the second icon is about. And let me see how I can remove that from my screen as well. Okay, excellent. Let's go again. So I'm going to start again. For those of you that are now joining, we had some technical difficulties around audio, but I think it is fixed. When you rewatch the video, you will get a very clear introduction about why this, my very first reaction video on YouTube, is so special, because I am looking at someone quite like myself who watched Oprah Winfrey evolve into the giant of television that she is, unmatched in her ability to entertain us through her interviews, interview Oprah herself. So we're going to start again. The audio appears to be working, and let's get ready. I think I figured out exactly what was happening just now. Okay, great. Let's go, Keke. I'm so proud of you.
I'm sitting down with Oprah Winfrey. Yes, Oprah, as I know her. Oprah, the Emmy-winning host, producer, actor, author,
Yes.
entrepreneur, philanthropist, and media icon who changed daytime television, built
She
her
did.
own network, created one of the most influential book clubs ever, and made millions of people feel like their story mattered. I was 12 years old when I first sat with Oprah on her show. So this moment is full
I was
circle in
13.
ways I am still processing. She's helped generations ask bigger questions about who they are and what they came here to do. But my question is, when you've been Oprah for this long, what still surprises you about yourself or about life? We're getting into joy, love, purpose, friendship, and what happens when the woman who gave everybody else aha moments is still having a few of her own. Baby, this is Keke Palmer.
So, what I really love about that is that initial question is a question I have myself, right? There is a statement that says that your everyday life is someone else's wildest dream, right? So I often wonder, when people who already possess the accomplishments or the things in life, or the profession, job, house, car, travel, investment, whatever, when they have checked those boxes, from where do they retrieve their joy or their excitement? Like, if you have already done all of the things, how do you continue to go? How do you avoid feeling the emptiness, like, okay, I've done everything? And so Oprah Winfrey is, or was, at the zenith of her game when she was, in the height of her journalistic, investigative interviewing phase. And she really made a pathway for many others, including Keke, including even YouTubers like myself, right? The whole format, she really trailblazed. So I love that we're going to dive into, where is her motivation? What is her reason, her why when she wakes up every morning, right? So we're going to dive into that. So I am going to continue playing along. Keke is going through some sponsorships, and I want to go right to where Oprah enters. Here she is. I like that they're kind of coordinating in white, right? Let's dive in.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know you were in white. Wait a minute. This outfit is everything. No, this is everything.
So natural, right? In their interaction.
So good. Why would you keep me up on my show like this? This is crazy. Now, wait, I have to ask, should I call you Miss Winfrey, Oprah? Can I call you?
Everybody calls me Oprah. You can also call me O.
Yes, okay. Oh, I'm so happy to be with you.
Love it.
Happy to be with you.
Oh my gosh, it's always a good time to see you. And now this time I get to actually talk with you.
I know.
Yes.
We've been in many things where we're like listening to other people.
Yes.
All of those summits.
Yep,
and
conferences.
and
In
things.
the conference era.
I
And
know.
you know I'm at the right one
I
and
know.
Oprah's there.
Mhm.
Now wait a minute.
Sitting right next to you.
I found out that your name it was originally Orpah.
It was Orpah from the Bible. Ruth, first chapter 14.
I remember she shared that in her
You
show
know, it's
once.
that whole Ruth and Naomi story. And
So I'm just going to stop here for a minute because Oprah looks amazing, right? I believe that she is either 70 or close to 70. And you're talking about watching her on television for years. Oprah was one of the first, I should really credit her makeup artist. And I used to know his name, but I can't remember. I should add it in the comments. So if you know the name of Oprah's longtime makeup artist, he was one of the first persons that I remember seeing on television who really transformed, the TV personality for the camera. Now, Oprah is a very good looking person, but I remember she would, be very candid about showing her walking to her dressing room, her before and after. And then we would see her face and the structure of her face. And then when he was done with the makeup, she would step back out and we were all like, how does he do that? That was before contouring and bronzing and doing all of the artistry that makeup artists do now was common and on YouTube. We just thought he was working magic because he sent her out there every day after hair and makeup was done, and it was a transformation. So kudos to Oprah. She looks healthy. She looks great after, being in the spotlight for several decades. Let's continue looking in on the show.
you know, Ruth said, "Wherever thou goest, I will go." And then Orpah said, "I'm going back. I'm sorry. I can't." Too long.
Now
The road's too long.
Now what made you go to Oprah?
It is not what made me. I was a kid, and nobody knew how to spell it. So it turned out on my birth certificate, it's Orpah. And then people started calling me Oprah. And so it's just a difference between the P being before the R or after the R.
Yeah.
So once they started with Oprah, that's it. I didn't learn until I was like probably 20 or something that, this isn't really my name. My
And
name
is it still on your birth certificate as Orpah?
is Orpah.
Wow. We have so much in common because I'm actually Iki.
Iki. I
Wow.
thought you were Lauren Kiana. Okay.
Yes, I am. You know my name, Lauren.
That's your
Kiana.
real name.
That is. I'm so happy that you knew that.
Yes.
That is very cool.
You know how I know that?
How?
Because I watched your TED Talk.
Oh, very
I have to
nice.
ask you about that TED Talk
Okay,
because I
okay.
feel like there's so much
I've never done one.
insight that you have given me. Really?
No, I've never done one. Tell me, what's
If you
it like?
did one, do you know what you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't. The reason I'm.
So, since we're talking about goals and dreams, and I'm watching Keke live out a dream of mine, right? To be sitting in a full-time studio interviewing guests and having major conversations. I'm sure what Oprah is going to share is going to be transformative. She has a wealth of knowledge. Like, she started off as someone that was not traditionally the face that we would see, right? Leading a news network, right? So she had to break the barrier, being a woman, being a person of color, being someone that is not typically the size that people believe is best for journalism and for being in the front and being the leader. So she would have a wealth of knowledge that she can share about what took her on her path to success. So I think that's going to be amazing. I'm really excited to hear how she guides Keke to this conversation and how the dynamic of interview and interviewee goes. But since they're mentioning TED Talks, I'm going to take it a moment today, right now, to speak into being that I'm also going to be doing a TED Talk. So you guys are going to be looking out for that as well.
Never done one. I don't know how I can get it all
And
in.
Oprah hasn't done
Isn't
one,
that
so
14 minutes?
I'll be
What's that,
getting a
12
TED
minutes
Talk
and
Yes,
before
12
Oprah.
I
minutes.
don't
Shout
know.
out to Chi. I mean, they put you with great coaches.
Yes.
She was with me along the process. I didn't know how I was going to arrive at where I arrived. But through the conversations, I slowly started writing. And then I had to scrap a couple of them. I had maybe like 2 or 3 speeches before I got to that one.
Really?
Yeah.
And are you just talking? It sounds like it's just coming out of your head. You're not reading from a prompter. You're not. Wow, that
Some
was
people do
beautifully
go up
done.
there. Thank you so much.
Beautifully done.
Keke is
Thank
good.
you. Some people do go up there with paper, but they really prefer you to know the whole bit.
Really?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Oh, well, I do know the whole bit, but I don't know how to do it in 14 minutes. But I could.
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I always do a pre-show pull-up with my guests, but I made yours specially for you, of course.
Okay, let's see what it is.
Okay, favorite thing you're obsessed with right now?
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
And skip the ad.
Favorite thing I'm obsessed with right now is actually doing my podcast. I love it because it's just like this. It's so intimate. I've done the talking thing forever and ever, but I love the intimacy of being one-on-one and having a conversation with people that you really are motivated to talk to, because
I love it. Oprah is just defining it. The intimacy of having a conversation with someone that you are motivated to talk to. That's actually pretty exceptional. And I did not know Oprah had a podcast. Podcasting was on my radar for a while. There's a pin in there as something I want to do in the future, and that could be the platform, right? Because YouTube interviews are really, done in the podcast format. But Oprah has a podcast, so I will be checking that out. But I love the way she exemplifies the closeness and the benefit of having conversations that are meaningful and impactful. Like after you leave, you feel refreshed, you feel lighter, you feel, that you have been endowed with new information from casual conversation. So Oprah, me too. I can say, me too to Oprah, because that also is what I am looking forward to
just
with
like
the interviews.
It's so fun. You talk to who you want to talk to.
And it's not a time limit. Like I think often with daytime talk,
Yeah.
it's like 5 minutes.
Oh my
8 minutes.
gosh.
You cannot say much in that quick time.
I mean, and the thing that I was always so terrible at is cutting to commercial break. I was always over.
Yeah.
And so hard to interrupt somebody, especially if you're doing something really serious. Excuse me, I'm going to take a commercial break. So that was always challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite place in the world?
Italy.
Really?
Any place in Italy.
Tell me about it. Have I been to Italy? I've been to Italy once. I don't think I've done enough traveling. So what makes Italy so special?
The food, the
And that
people.
always
do.
Yeah, the food and the people, and the sense of family, camaraderie, community. I like the idea of like walking down a cobblestone little street and going to get your bread at the end of the.
Come on.
Yes.
That mean when you said I love bread?
I love the bread. I still love bread, and I still love bread.
That's so good.
So I love, that's one of my favorite places in the world to be.
Yeah.
But I will actually tell you this: I have created such a beautiful, blessed life for myself that it's hard to get me to leave the front gate.
Oh.
I mean, really, many
That means
times.
the home is a sanctuary.
Yeah, my home is a sanctuary.
I love that she's talking about her home being a sanctuary. I do want to say that I saw this really great quote. People are just having conversations and saying things, and sometimes we neglect to think about how impactful a simple statement can be in someone's life. That's why it's great to just have positive things just on the tip of your tongue. Like just be, intentional and be specific about saying something good and saying something that could be a nugget of wisdom for somebody else. I saw someone on Instagram say that attempt to create a life for yourself that doesn't require you to go on vacation. And I thought, wow, live in a way that life is a vacation. And the statement had nothing to do with wealth or with amenities or having, a 10,000 square foot home, but with finding the things that bring you joy. A good book, your favorite flavor of coffee, a quiet space, a plant that you can't wait to see grow and thrive, a neighbor, writing letters, like finding something that you really enjoy doing and creating a small space to do that so that you always have access to a retreat. So hearing Oprah say, I know Oprah is a billionaire with a B, and so I do not believe that there's anything in life she probably ever thought of wanting, definitely not needed and doesn't have. So her ability to say, I seldom leave my front door is probably related to the fact that her entire house is probably like a mall. Like she probably really does have everything there. But it is a lesson for all of us, right? Creating a space at home so that you don't feel you need to escape your sanctuary.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I
And
love that for
every
you.
time I look out in my backyard, I say, I understand what Glinda the Good Witch meant when she said, look no further than your own backyard.
Wow.
Yes.
Now that is really something special.
It is very special.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Please invite me sometime.
I will.
I love that, Keke.
You will love my backyard. Yes. Yes.
Okay, favorite guest who surprised you. Now this could be somebody that's on your current podcast, or it could be somebody from the past, or it could be one of both.
Okay, favorite guest who surprised me recently
I'm
was
so excited.
was a guy named Alan Levi, who's written this book called Theo Golden. Lots of people are reading it. I know you've read it. And here's the thing. That guy who wrote the book, Alan Levi, is really Theo Golden. So Theo Golden is this guy who comes into a town. He goes to a coffee shop. He sees all these pictures on the wall that have been drawn by a local artist. And then he decides to take each picture, buy it, and then meet with each person.
Wow.
And the whole idea is that everybody has a special life story, and that to be able to look at
Mm.
these lives. So this guy who came on my show, Alan Levi, best guest I've ever had. And I've had some guests. I've literally talked to over 3,500 people.
Oh my gosh. So that's the number.
Wow.
Okay. And that's why when I'm talking to my
Okay, so much to unpack. So earlier on, I mentioned that Oprah probably has had hundreds of thousands. So she said 3,500, right? 3,500 interviews. I mean, if you multiply that by the hours, I mean, when we see a 1 hour show, there's probably more time done in production. So that is a lot. That is a wealth of experience she's had, right? And she is just extracting this one person and saying the best person she interviewed. I am wondering if she ever verbalized that before, and if this person that she's discussing knows this. So he's definitely now on my radar. But I love what she talked about with everyone having a unique life story. When as a teacher, when students come back from vacation, there used to be this typical question. As a teacher, we're all guilty of it, where we ask the kids, write about what you did for vacation. And without knowing it, by asking that question, we just created so much hierarchy between our kids, right? So the child who went to Paris for vacation is going to have a different story from the child who spent their vacation in their backyard, or so we thought. And I went to a training where they taught us how to reframe that question about spring break, summer break, and allow children to share moments that were meaningful to them. And not what did you do? Where did you go? What did you buy? What did you get for Christmas? But what was meaningful to you on your break? And so children can talk about babysitting their younger cousin, going to the Bronx to meet their grandmother, cooking a meal with a friend. And so the essays, the personal narratives we were getting had more depth and more meaning. And that really reframed how I talk to children on a whole, right? Because every child that spends a couple of weeks away from school at home has a unique experience that has depth and importance. So I love that this person that Oprah mentioned is saying that all of these pieces of art are glimpses into the life experiences of the artist, and he's curious enough and wants to know. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful recognition of the depth and complexity of the human spirit. So I'm excited. So I have a new person to go and look into. Let's jump back into the interview.
Girls, all these girls I mentor from South Africa, I go, you ought to listen to me, because I've had 3,500 conversations. So anyway, Alan Levi, when he was
Alan Levi.
went and introduced himself to every crew member. Not just introduced himself to every crew member, but wanted to hear every crew member's story, which takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And every single guest that we had that was asking him a question, he had a question for them. So his interest in other people, I love it when people show kindness, real goodness toward other people. That's number one. Favorite surprise guest, okay? The other was, honey, I think it was in the 90s or something, 1990 something. There was a show called The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh my gosh, come on. Megan after all.
Yes!
Yes.
And throwing up the hat.
So good.
I had done that whole little skit where I went out and I put on the hat and the clothes and the and the Mary and throwing it up thing. And so we were doing this show on Mary memories and all of us who love Mary. And I'm talking about Mary Tyler Moore. And out walks Mary Tyler Moore.
I think I've seen
Out walks Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, wow.
Too much.
And you know what? I lost it.
That's what they call the ugly cry.
I went into the headache ugly cry.
Yes, I knew she would say that.
You cry so much, now you have a headache, and now your nose is running, and the whole thing.
My God.
And I said to my producers after that, that's it. I can never be surprised again.
Oh my gosh.
Never. And not until the last show, which we did from the United Center, where there were all these surprises, including Beyonce, that they were like, please, we just need to be able to surprise you, because I lost such control during that show. I was going to pee on myself. I was like, my nose was running, all the things.
But that is
with Mary Tyler Moore, and I was like, do you understand what this means to me? And she was like,
so surprises I love, right? And I love the idea that a surprise is such a thoughtful gesture. It takes time to plan. People are coordinating it behind your back, people that love you and care about you. And then the adrenaline, the excitement, the rush of joy. So I love surprises. But I also know a lot of people that do not like surprises because of the word Oprah used, the uncontrollable reaction. It's something, although positive, you're not anticipating. So you no longer feel control of the situation, right? This emotion is overtaking. It's now the master of you. And for some people that is, it can be a little bit unnerving, right? Unsettling. So it sounds like that was beautiful because she wanted to see this person, but that rush of emotion on live television with a studio audience and the cameras rolling and no control and not being able to hold that in was not a pleasant experience for her. But when it comes to me, bring the surprises on. I love a good surprise.
I kind of do. I think I do. So you know why?
She said, I think I do.
I think I do, because when I was first started in news, Mary was it. There was no dating on Saturday night. I would watch the Mary Tyler Moore Show, wash my hair, roller set under the dryer with the blow dry, with the whole thing, with the rollers, and then followed by the Bob Newhart Show.
Oh my gosh.
That was my routine, Mary. So getting surprised by Mary.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's something so special about people being in their home with you.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure you know it obviously personally, because people have we all have that same affinity for you. So
But listen to this. This is also, you never know who you've inspired. Actually, I run into people all the time to say, you inspired me. I ran into a girl in the bathroom yesterday who said, I'm a journalist because of you. And
Wow.
that makes me so proud. But part of the reason I am who I am is because I was watching the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And at the end of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, remember this? There's a little MTM and a little cat that comes out and goes, meow. And it was her own production company, MTM. It's the first time that I realized, you could own yourself. You can own your
Yes, you
product.
can. Oh my
You
God,
can
I'm getting
own what you're putting
goosebumps.
out into the world.
Whew, I am just getting so much inspiration from this video. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm in a really great space of inspiration right now, because I will first speak for myself. You know, I believe that I I'm of the thinking that it is difficult for a child to believe what they have never like perceived with their eyes. You can't construct something in your mind that you have never seen, right? So having Oprah, a woman, a person of color, in the position that she was, she is saying that she feels special when people say, I'm a journalist because of you. But I want to venture out and say, I believe that there are hundreds and thousands of lives that she has touched and people that she has given inspiration to, because they saw that if she can do it, so can I. I was always inspired by the way she spoke, by the way she managed her emotions in real time, right? The way she handled, conflict or emotionally charged exchanges with her guests. Just the way that she spoke and managed herself was always inspirational. So hearing her be that humble to say that one person said, I'm a journalist because of you, and that makes her feel special. She's touched a tremendous amount of people. And I love that she's speaking to the specificities of knowing that Mary Tyler Moore had her own company, like I can have my own, right? You need to see someone that looks like you, that is the way you are in that role. And I have a very special video that I'm going to do about a YouTube creator, Fumi Desalu-Vold. And she's a content creator like myself. I'm saying her name, I'm getting goosebumps. And Fumi Desalu-Vold, she's on YouTube. You can go and check her out. I'll put her information in the description. She had so many experiences in her life that were similar to mine. And there's something about the way that she presented herself on YouTube that really convinced me that I could do this. I've been wanting to create my YouTube channel. I've been wanting to get started. I wasn't sure if I could be interesting enough or what I was going to do. And I know that the climb to success on YouTube is slow, right? So you have to really be in for the long haul, because I have been at it for a couple years, and the progress is slow and steady. The algorithm has its own settings, so you need engagement and interaction and subscribers. So this is a good time. If you're watching this video and you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel at Chats with Petal, this is the time to go to youtube.com, go to my channel and hit the subscribe button, and also to invite someone that you think might get value from this. But when I watched Fumi, who was in her 40s, I was in my 40s. Fumi had a career in retail. I had a career in retail. Fumi started doing YouTube part-time after work. I do YouTube part-time after work. And she would say things like, don't give up, you can do this. And I got so much inspiration from her that one day she made a video and she stopped at the end and she just started saying, if you are out there and you are thinking about starting a YouTube channel. I was looking around on the couch like, okay, it was so specific to me. She said, get it done, create the channel, and within a week of that, I started my YouTube channel, filmed my first video, uploaded it. So I think it's very important that we recognize that we are an inspiration for someone else. That same life that you're living, that you're finding all the reasons to complain because you're hyper-focused on the things you have not yet done. Remember that the things that you have accomplished thus far is further ahead on someone else's journey, and they're watching you live their dream, and you are an inspiration to them. So that's why this interview is so excited. It's so exciting. Keke is living an experience that she probably did not visualize for herself. And I am speaking the growth and success into my channel. And hearing Oprah speak about her beginnings, that she didn't start off, of course, being a billionaire. I just feel completely inspired. Like this is a very connected, full circle moment. If you are on at Chats with Petal, I am doing a live reaction to Keke Palmer interviewing the one and only Oprah Winfrey. And I want you to join me as I watch the video. It has been posted today. This is my first viewing, my first reaction, and I'm happy that you're watching. Let's jump back into the video.
And MTM is what gave me the vision to believe that can happen. And I
Wow.
remember when I started in Chicago, and I said to one of the, suits, I said, one of the things I want is to one day become a mogul. And the next day,
Wow.
he was like, how dare you use that language? How dare you say that? Yes, that's what he said to me in 1983. How dare you use it? Yes. I want to be a mogul.
Why do you think that he said that? Why do you?
He said it was so arrogant, and it was so it
Whew.
was so full of myself to think that I could become a mogul.
Oh my goodness.
Our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure.
Okay, come on, Marianne Williamson. Quote.
Listen, one of I think the greatest injustices in education is a teacher that tells a child that they can't be. A teacher who minimizes or dismisses the aspirations of a child. And guys, I've seen that in real time. I've seen children verbalize, dreams that are exceptional, like a child that says, I'm going to be president one day. And teachers who, because of their closed-mindedness and because they are not, in a space where they see the exponential potential of each child, they make a comment, not directly dismissing it, like that's not going to happen, but something that doesn't match the grandeur of what the child communicated. I have watched that happen. And again, our society has a very specific model, a very specific silhouette of what it means to be successful. And if you are male, if you are white, if you are middle-aged, if you're in a suit, if you have money, specific educational boxes have to be checked. That's the people that everyone believes deserve success, not can succeed, right? So here is Oprah, obviously gifted, right? Verbalizing a dream for herself. And here is another person saying, I don't think so, because people often meet you and then they make an evaluation of your worth, right? Your potential. People have to meet you, and whether they know it or not, they are evaluating and assessing who they think you are based on what they're able to see and extract from the conversation. And they already put you in a box, right? That's why you may share a dream that you have with a stranger and they're going to say, oh my God, girl, go for it. That sounds amazing. Tell me more, right? But if you share that same vision with someone that knows you and has already, quantified you into very specific capabilities, they're going to say, oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Because what you're saying about who you believe you can be is in conflict with who they have already evaluated you to be. Right. And that's why you often find success among people that do not yet know you, who have not yet boxed you in. So the fact that someone met Oprah, who has a glow, she has a light, and she verbalized owning her own company, and they thought mogul, a Black woman from the South in America, African American, is not the piece that fits into the definition of mogul. So sorry, you cannot. Right. So hearing her again speak about those very specific everyday obstacles, and now she's sitting here having overcome them, completely inspirational, right? Let's continue.
To me.
That was so good.
Quote to me.
Girl, when I saw you had your own frozen food product.
Yes.
When I saw you had your own network, it was that same thing. I said, this is next level.
Well,
what Oprah Winfrey is.
Let me just tell you, owning that show was the transition into me owning myself in so many ways. And that came about because I had nothing I wanted more in this world than being in The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And when I went away to do The Color Purple, my bosses at the time said, you only have 2 weeks vacation, and I needed 2 months. And I ended up giving all of my vacation for the entire contract. If you would just let me finish this movie, I said, This is in 1985. If you just let me finish this movie, I'll give up all of my vacation,
Wow.
And then when it came time to renew that contract, my lawyer said, you never want to be in a position where you have to give up everything in order to sacrifice to do what you really want to do. What if you owned part of the show? This was Jeff Jacobs who said this to me.
Shout out to Jeff Jacobs.
Shout out to Jeff Jacobs, who said, what if you
Go
owned
Jeff
yourself? It means
Jacobs.
you have to take the risk yourself that maybe it wouldn't do as well, but you don't have to take a salary. You would get whatever the show was going to make.
This is like advertising.
This is when we went syndicating. Yeah, when we were syndicated. And I said, sure, because I believed in myself. And that is the reason why I am where I am, because I believed that ownership was the way for me. And you know what? At the time, local stations couldn't even syndicate you, so nobody believed that the Oprah show was going to be as big as it was. And the reason why I got the greatest percentage, the percentage that I did, is because none of those guys thought it was going to be that successful. If they thought it was that successful, they would have never given me 50%.
Did you feel that sacrifice in the immediate, meaning when you took? It felt all the same.
It felt all the same to me. It felt like.
I hope you guys heard that, right? I hope you heard the fact that Oprah just said that people's disbelief in her ability worked to her advantage, right? Just let that sit in for a little while. The fact that people thought the show was no good and nothing, they were like, of course, have 50%. You're only going to make a few, $1,000. As they say, look at God. People did not believe that she could, and that was the very thing that ushered in her success. So, it really is. It continues to be a testament of taking the punches as they go, going forward. Because if I presented that to someone and they said, "Oh, sure, go ahead, take 50%," I would have said, "Oh my God, why would they give me half? It probably really isn't going to be anything." And that could be a seed of doubt, but not for her, right? Because she believed in herself. This is amazing.
I knew that the show would be successful because it was successful in Chicago. And Chicago was, I thought,
the Mecca.
Yes, it represented the country.
For sure.
It wasn't like it was New York,
yes,
East Coast thinking or West Coast thinking. I thought, this is America. And if Chicago loves it, Rhode Island will love it. Memphis will love it. Arkansas is going to love it.
Come on,
Nashville's going to love it too. Everybody's going to love it because Chicago loves it. And I could watch the faces of those women every day, and I realized that what we're saying, what we're doing.
You can come.
That's my favorite guilty pleasure.
Couch potato.
Yeah.
It's
when I was like, what have I done? But no, the perfect day.
She's muted. She's not talking about.
So I love that, Oprah believes that, her most amazing thing to do is not do anything. And you are doing a lot, right? When you are just at rest, you're mentally at rest, you are just physically at rest. I call it pajama days, but there's something extremely rejuvenating about turning off your mind. You're turning off that overthinking part of your mind, but you're also just awakening like your creative side, and you're physically resting your body, and you are just in a space of just allowing your environment, maybe some calm music, some natural light, just to come in and do what you're going to do. You see, we think that someone who's at Oprah's level, that her thing would be to just be at home, like plan new shows, look at the schedule of guests. But here's what her favorite thing to do is to be at peace, to be at rest. She's calling it doing nothing, right? So try not to misinterpret someone's rest, someone's inaction as laziness or as bearing no fruit, right? Because that was the moments that were very impactful to the greatest to ever do it, right? Let's jump right back
For
in.
me, people will be so shocked because my friend Gail is. I realize the older we get, and then I don't know how we've remained friends for 50 years because we're so opposite. She is right now on her way to the Obama event, and she did something last night and did something the night before.
She do be outside.
She do be
I
outside.
love that about girl. I love that. I see her out. I'm like, girl.
Oh my gosh! And I am, and she'll call me sometimes and say, "What are you doing? Sitting with your thoughts?" And I go, "Exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yes!
I'm doing with my thoughts." So my perfect day is it's raining. There's some fog.
Oh, yes.
You hear the rain on the roof. Because I grew up in Mississippi with a tin roof, so you could hear the rain falling on the roof. And it sounded like a thunderstorm every time it sprinkled. And so the feeling of rain on the roof is a comforting thing to me. And so having a fire.
So that feeling of rain is a comforting thing to many of us, right? So she's talking about the tin roofs of the South, and I can tell you about the galvanized roofs of the Caribbean, right? In Trinidad, in Lusbajo, in my grandmother's house, there was a corrugated iron roof. We called it a galvanized roof, and there was no drop ceiling. So you could look up and see the actual roofing. And when the rain fell, the sound of rain on that roof, I mean, you would literally go in your bed to go lay down because it's such a calming, overwhelmingly calming feeling, right? And I believe the word for it is pluviophilia, right? A pluviophile. I will correct that in the comments if I'm mistaken, but the sound of rain. So I use an app to sleep every night. It creates ambient sounds, and I have the sound of rain playing in the background. I put it on a little speaker or on my phone or on the TV, and I just black out the screen, and that sound of rain is so calming. And it's not often you really get that in the day. You get a little rainstorm here and there. You have to be lucky to get it on a weekend when you're home, and then on a weekend when you're not busy doing something, so you can literally sit, have chocolate, have coffee, and just have the window pulled, and the natural light outside is soft. Sometimes the things that we need to heal ourselves, the things that we need to lessen our stress, the tension in our bodies are free, and they're very simple. And oftentimes when I interact with someone outside, like a driver, someone in the DMV, or the post office, or somebody that is just unpleasant and edgy, that's what I'm thinking in the back of my mind. I wonder what they've done for themselves today. I wonder where is their rest. I wonder what they've eaten. I wonder what they've been listening to. Like, why is your spirit in that condition that you are so abrasive to people around you, right? So I love hearing Oprah talk about the rain. Try it, guys.
Fireplace, having a dog, and reading a book, and having another book after that to read. So you have like a little stack. That's my favorite. But I know that that's not fun for most people, okay?
That's lovely to me.
But it's not fun for most people. Gail's like, good. Yeah.
She really goes like, okay, favorite thing money can't buy.
I'm going to talk about reading for a little bit before we go into favorite things that money can buy. So over the holidays, I gifted myself with a Kindle. It's right here. I love the cover. The cover is like a library. And I just want to say that for all the parents, for all the aunties, uncles, for everybody out there, I will tell you what I believe is the single thing that contributed to my academic, social success, my whole perspective on learning. And it is the very thing that may separate children who succeed in the world from children who struggle. And that secret, everyone, drum roll, is reading for leisure. Us children of the 70s, 80s, 90s, we are lucky, we're blessed in a way to have been young children without the plethora, the being inundated with all the screens, right? The TV screen, the cell phone screen, the iPad screen. And so we had books. And so we read, and we read for leisure, and we read for fun, and we did puzzles, and we created games. And so we activated different parts of our brain consistently as children. We were engaging with print and literacy and sounds all the time, right? And unfortunately, that is now lost to this generation because cell phones and iPads have replaced books, and the mental lift of reading text on a page and creating that movie in your mind, right? Creating the characters, painting the setting, visualizing is a heavy cognitive lift, and it really strengthens the brain, and it does so much to prepare you for successes in other academic arenas. And to have that taken away from young children is the most heartbreaking part of being an educator, just seeing or how negatively reading has now been framed for children, right? And children should be able to, just a few things about reading before Oprah continues talking about it. Children should never read books that they're not interested in. That is torture, right? A child should always read a book into which with the words are pulling at them and they want to read it. Children should absolutely be able to read books over and over and over again. Every time they read a book, they can read it for a different purpose. They can read it to explore the characters, to add new dimensions to the setting, to create an alternate ending. Children should definitely read books over and over again. Children should always watch TV with the subtitles on. I just took the captions off of this video because the title over here is blocking it. But children should always watch TV or anything on their iPad with the captions on, so that words that they have only heard but never seen in print, they can see exactly how that word is written graphically, right? Children should have access to books. We should support our local libraries. There should be blackout times. Kids should be able to read whatever level of book that they want to. And reading should always be fun. It should never be stressful, right? A child should always be able to choose a book that they love and that they can read. And if they want to skip over pages and read the end first and read sections and skip over boring parts, all of that should be permitted so that the brain gets to engage with text, right? So Oprah saying that it's no longer fun for people to read. I think unless you are someone that enjoys reading for leisure, the opportunities of reading is no longer there because there's so many other things in the way. So me recognizing how much I have allowed work, life to come in the way of how much I used to read in previous years, I bought myself a Kindle in an attempt to force myself to get back into the pages of a book. As a self-proclaimed author of a book that I have written, and I am hunting for publishers. I've submitted it to several publishers. So as an author myself, I should definitely be reading more. So I find it very important. But if you're a parent, guardian, auntie, books are still appropriate gifts for children, okay?
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important.
He's definitely interrupting. We'll get the ad skipped. There we go.
Oh my gosh. I would have to say, for me, it's the peace of mind and satisfaction that has come from living a life well lived. It's the peace of mind and satisfaction. When I first started out, it was hard. I know you've had this too. Every relative comes out of the closet. You got cousins you didn't know, and you got everybody wanting and demanding of your time and your money. And I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to manage all of that in the beginning. And I had really strong mentors. I had the best.
Who were your mentors?
I had Maya Angelou.
Oh my God. Okay. I was going to stop and then I thought, no, I won't. But then now she's mentioning my favorite author of all time and someone that I use as a guide. Like I just long and hope and pray, like if I could be 1% of of as authoritative and as captivating as Maya Angelou in her speech and in her poetry and in her artistry. It is a goal of mine. When I was about 17, my mom had traveled to New York, and so she said, "You know, what do you want me to bring for you?" And I had encountered Maya Angelou. I'm probably on the Oprah Winfrey Show and in Jet magazine, Jet or Ebony magazine. And so I said, I want a Maya Angelou book. And she said, which one? And I said, anyone. And my mom brought me like about, I mean, 6 or 7, including the complete book of poems of Maya Angelou, which I've had since I was a teenager. So I've always been inspired by her. She truly is, you know, pun intended, a phenomenal woman and so comprehensive in her life experiences. So to hear Oprah mention her as a mentor, and I know she said that before as well. But I also want to talk about say no, right? Which is being unable to say no is a offshoot of being a people pleaser, and people pleasing is an offshoot of low self-worth, right? We don't believe that if we say no to people that they're still going to love us, still going to respect us. So we have to earn the respect of other people and the love by gifting them things, right? And that is a struggle, and I hear that a lot from people who uh, come into wealth or who were always wealthy. I'm not even wealthy, just maybe if someone in your circle might not be as fortunate as you are, that the automatic assumption is that you have excess and you have a lot that should just be gifted to them because it's obvious, right, that they have a lot less than you. And I love that Oprah used the word manage, because I remember someone saying to me, you know, I can't give someone else another loan because I can't manage the paybacks. Like, it's not even that the person didn't have the money. They had the money, but they were like, I have so much people who I have loaned money to, all of whom are trustworthy and full of integrity and will return the money as they, you know, promised. But managing that becomes another job. So you gave someone $1,000, someone two. This one's paying it back every month. This one's paying it back in 2 parts, and so you have just created another job. Like, that sometimes is why someone might tell you no, and you're going to probably say, well, why not? It's because you're creating work, right? And it doesn't matter. They don't even owe you an explanation. The level of entitlement that is woven into our societal thinking and how we interact with each other, our societal dynamics, is insane. And that's another video. The way people believe that they can have a right to dictate to you how you manage things that are yours. It's crazy. So that's entitlement. And I'm glad that Oprah used the word manage, right? So let's listen to what she's going to continue to say.
Poitier. I had Quincy Jones.
Oh my gosh.
I had Coretta Scott King. Those were my mentors. So when something would go wrong, I would call one or the other of those people and say, Maya and Sydney more so than anybody else. But I would have to say,
Oprah.
Yeah.
What did you mean?
Yeah.
Keke is so good with the impressions.
She's on the phone with Maya Angelou's house
All the time. All the time. And I remember being on this, and at the time, the tabloids were just wrecking me all the time. I was on the tabloids every week for either being too fat, she ate too much, she ate a whole pie, she done, you know, just making up lies about me all the time. Or is she getting married? Why he won't marry her? Now they split up. So there were 2 stories. There were the, will she get married? Will she not get married? Why hasn't she gotten married? And overweight. But they, for 20 freaking years, wore me out with it. And many times I would.
Now, oh my God, this is so telling. Like, I'm so glad this is happening, because 2 things. I can definitely attest to that, right? When you think about Oprah Winfrey in the 90s and early 2000s, she did so much fluctuations in her weight, which would have been okay if, just as she said, it wasn't documented by the tabloids and they gave us the play-by-play when she's overweight, when she's underweight. And I think she also, you know, I guess because of pressure or just because it was the big elephant in the room, also did shows that was centered around her weight loss. If you guys look up the episode where she was really thin and she came out with the wagon of raw meat, and the meat represented how much weight she had lost, right? So I remember that being, it really went hand in hand. Oprah Winfrey, her weight loss, she gains, she loses weight, and then Stedman Graham being her lifelong partner, and they're not married, right? And then all the rumors about why Stedman is not marrying her because of her relationship with Gayle King and going back and forth. But you know what's very telling to me? Like I always say, and maybe Oprah is confirming that it isn't the case, but I always say that if I were a millionaire or a billionaire, would people's opinions of me actually bother me? Now, right now, today, I'm saying no. Why would I care? I can't imagine that I am able to move through life with ever having a financial concern, not a financial thought, not a financial budget, not a financial system. I have people that manage that because the money that I am earning surpasses the money I need to live, right? That's what wealth is. When you make more money than you can spend and you have a surplus of money that is so great that you need other people to manage it for you. So I can't imagine being in that space and then somebody is making fun of me and I care. I mean, I barely care about people's opinions now. Like, I can't imagine, okay, why would that matter? But, I watch celebrities go back and forth with commenters on Instagram and get into tips and, take, comments people make about themselves or their family to heart. And I'm always like, how are they able to trigger you? So, I think Oprah is really humanizing, our sensitivity to the perspective of others because she's saying it got to her. Like, you are at the top of your game. There's nobody in the talk show world, nobody on TV that is as popular as you are. You are an international, a global figure, and someone insulting your weight still bothers you. Right. So it really is, it's making me pause, and maybe that perspective that it wouldn't bother me maybe isn't accurate. Maybe it still might. I don't know, but it's always fascinating to hear that from the lens of someone who is in a position to really, like flex on all of us, like, to say that it still bothered her. Very interesting.
Upset about it, and I would call Maya, I would say, I remember being in the bathroom. I can't even remember what it was, but toilet seat down, sitting in the toilet in the bathroom.
Wow, wow. Can I tell you a short story about a therapist that Roderick and I had? So, we have been married for 22 years. And in that 22 years of marriage, we have had a few marriage therapists, and thank God they've been great people. But we had a specific therapist. I mean, she was amazing. And she reminded me of Maya Angelou. Her name was Olivia Capers. And she was fantastic, exceptional. And I I was we went to a session with her. We've recommended many couples to go to her. I mean, she saved us. She set us up for success. She was an exceptional leader. She was wise. She had biblical wisdom. She'd lived. She was an older woman. She was such a powerhouse of wisdom and virtue and so controlled. So I'll give you this joke. She had a statement just like that she said to me once, and then I started using it. So we went to a session, and I was annoyed with Roderick, of course. So we're going into the session, and I'm talking. I'm just waiting for my turn to offload, right? So Roderick, spoke to her, and then I after she, Roderick said his piece, I just started telling her, well, let me tell you what he said and he did. So I'm going, going on and on and on and on and on. I'm worked up. I'm completely emotionally worked up. And I saw her listening to me. Everything about her was controlled and steady and settled. She did not match my emotion. She did not get pulled into the chaos. She was so controlled and steady, and she sat there. And I'm like, but how could this happen? But if you say this and you do this, and I'm going on and on. And so I said, so what now? And she said 2 words to me. She said, God saw. That's it. God saw. Because I basically was presenting this image that, well, this happened. He said this, like he's not owning it. So what am I going to do? And, she said, God saw that. So if you believe that something is now beyond your ability to do, and you believe in the supernatural and the divine power, and I believe in reciprocity and in truth and in the fact that you reap what you sow, God saw. So I adopted that, and that's it. That was her answer for me, running my mouth and going crazy. So for many years, whenever someone came to me in a space of chaos and they were asking things of situations that were beyond their control and they were flustered, I knew I had a steady response. I learned from her, and I allowed them to vent and to speak and to offload. And in many cases, they were entitled to do that, rightly so. And at the end, I would just say, God saw. God saw that. The universe is not blind. That did not go unseen. God saw. So when she speaks about Maya Angelou saying, stop it now, it reminds me of Olivia Capers. She was exceptional. I mean, I have to credit her for what she did. She really was a positive and impactful person in our marriage life for many years. And she was quite old, but I have not been able to confirm. Many years after, we were trying to get in touch with her and we didn't. We assumed, maybe she passed on. She was no longer providing therapy. So, and that was many, many years ago. So Oprah's portrayal of Maya Angelou, just, oh my God, it reminds me so much of Olivia Capers. Just the tone and the speaking pattern and the control.
Middle of the crisis, you just say, all right, I know there's another side to it. So I had some of the best teachers. I had just fantastic teachers. So my favorite thing is, I get a lot of love from the world, and I get a lot of craziness from the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the online thing is crazy.
Well, I mean, when you were bringing up the tabloid stuff, it was making me think about online, because
now that's a new tabloid.
It's the same kind of thing.
It's a new thing. But you can say anything. So everybody has the power to say anything about you. And the thing that's always been the hardest for me is people saying things that are untrue. And I mean, the tabloids actually prepared me for all the untruths that I live with now online. But this is the thing. Maya used to say this to me, and I say this to everybody who's listening, and you have had some grace in your life. Maya used to say, baby, those people can't hold a candle to the light that God already has shining on your face. So look at the light that God has shining on your face and stop worrying about those people, because those people who are sitting online saying things about me that are not true, those people who used to say this all the time in the tabloids, they don't even know you. They don't even know you. You're just a photograph and a story to them.
Yes.
She would say,
an avatar.
They don't know your heart. They don't know anything about you. So those people who are dragging you, ragging on you, whatever, cannot hold a candle to the light God already has shining on your face. And
okay. So important to recognize your worth, right? So important to understand that now that people can have an opinion of you, right? Because that is the nature of how we exist in society, right? We make reasonable evaluations of people as we meet them, right? And an opinion doesn't mean that it is flimsy and without merit, right? I may have an opinion of someone that's based on a concrete experience I've had with that person. So it isn't the fact that people have opinions about you. it is really the intent with which that person is communicating that opinion. Because if I'm sharing something about someone that maybe is me being critical of them, why? Am I saying it because I really hope for them to be better? Am I saying it because I want someone to think less of them or more of them? Am I saying it in a way that makes it encouraging for someone else? Like, why am I sharing this opinion I have of this person, right? So I think the opinions people have of you can be valid, but it really is the intention, right? But what gives me peace is that it does two things. It gives me peace, and it also checks me when I find myself leaning towards judging other people, because we all have that judgy. Let me speak for myself. I definitely have a judgmental tendency, because as an educator and working with young children, I hold children to high standards of discipline, behavior, focus in class all the time, right? And I expect them to behave a specific way, in a way that's going to facilitate their academic progress. So children are being held to a standard, and I'm setting the standard, and I'm celebrating their alignment with those expectations, and I'm holding them. So that the fact that that's what I'm doing all day with kids, it has made me so impatient with adults. Like I have grown impatient with adults, because when I see their negative behavior, I often think, my kids don't do that. I don't allow kids in my class to speak over each other. Why are you talking over me? Like, it really makes you less tolerant of behaviors that you see adults demonstrating that you are expecting kids not to show, right? So that has made me less patient. I tend to say, like, why isn't this person better? You didn't go to school? No one ever told you? You weren't in daycare where they said you have to wait your turn, me first, the next person, like you don't know how to wait on the line, like, and and I started to hear that impatience whenever I verbalized my thinking. And what I have learned to do, which is the same thing I think of other people who have opinions of me, I remind myself that I am only exposed to a facet of that person. I don't know that total. The person I'm seeing in the car, in road rage, screaming and cursing at me, that is who that person is in that moment. And that is how they are when they drive, right? They might be a completely different person when they're at home, right? The coworker that is intolerable, with whom I am not enthused to work with, might be an exceptional parent. They might not be a great coworker, but they might be really great in another dynamic, another system in their life. And that has really given me pause as to how we lay down, our judgments and our descriptors of people, like, this person is this person is that, this person is that way at work. This person is that way as a parent, as a sibling, as a neighbor. But that is not the totality of who that person is. Now, if you get information that shows that the person is the same way everywhere, well, that's different, right? But when people come to conclusions about me, I often say, well, they just know a specific side of me. So I am empathetic. I not forgive, but I let it go, because I get it. I get why you think I'm a specific way. And what also confirms the fact that people are often making assumptions based only on a partial understanding of who you are is because people's perceptions of me are so varied. Like, depending on where people know me, when people say, you're this kind of person, you're that kind of person, I see you as this or that, it is diametrically opposed to how someone else thinks I am, right? From people tell me I'm super serious, and people say I'm very playful, people say I'm girlish, people say when they meet me, I thought you were an older person, right? People think I'm super eccentric, people think I'm, like, everyone has a different perception of who you are based on the spaces within which they interact with you. So that has helped me. I'm not saying I'm immune to hearing someone speak negatively about me, right? My humanity is still there, but that has made me somewhat immune to hearing negative things about me. But I can't compare that to what celebrities go through, right? Especially now with digital social media. Back then it was People Magazine and the Inquirer, and I forget what the other like tabloids were. But now it is a barrage. Like you can have a bad day and in an hour, 10,000 people commented about how terrible you look. So I can't quite process how they handle that mentally, but it always is fascinating to hear them speak about it in real time, right? Let's go back and listen to Oprah.
Reminds me of, one of my favorite things to do now that I
I love that she's talking about the look at where you're at, right? So at this point, I do want to stop and say thank you for watching. The video is over an hour, and we're staying till we get to the end of this video. For those of you that joined after the video started, we are watching Keke Palmer interview Oprah Winfrey in real time. I saw Keke advertise this podcast interview yesterday on Instagram, and I thought, what? She got Oprah? And I said, I have to make time to watch it. And I have been wanting to make reaction videos on YouTube for some time. So I thought this was an exceptional opportunity to make my first YouTube video. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I also want you to think about supporting me. I am a new YouTube content creator. I want you to make sure that if you're watching that you definitely subscribe to my channel. And I also want you to invite a friend, send them a WhatsApp, send them a text and say, listen, my friend, sister, cousin, neighbor, coworker, friend from school, she has a YouTube channel. She's doing great things. And I want you to support her by subscribing to her channel, watching a few of her videos, giving her some feedback, liking, commenting, and building that engagement, right? How far have I come? So I have 284 subscribers, which is a lot, right? And yesterday I went live, not yesterday, Sunday night, right? Sunday night, I went live and I made a video saying, guys, I need to get to 500 videos. And I made the video, stayed online, talked about a couple things, and invited people to subscribe to my channel. And then yesterday, I kept checking my subscriber count. And guess what? I gained no new subscribers, not one. It was still 284. And I said, guess what? I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what was in my homepage when I'm going to pause the video for a little bit. I want to show you guys when I went onto YouTube. I'm going to see if it's still there. The first video that I saw when I logged onto YouTube, if it's still there, I will share my screen. The algorithm gave me new videos, right? But I will show you guys what the video was. And I thought, you know what? That is such a perfect confirmation of, I will let Oprah continue speaking and I will find the video so you guys can see exactly what's happening. But it was a video that just spoke to exactly what I needed to hear in that moment.
3/4 of the way there. Before you know, you look back, you go, I can't believe I came all that way. And if you came all that way, you can get to the top. Well, that is my spiritual practice.
Yes,
Yeah,
and what are are the things in the interim? Because I'm hearing you saying there's always a mountain on the rainbow, but even if I'm talking to you right now and dealing with the own things that I have going on in my life, or people that are listening, that is a very hard thing to all. Hold on. Really? It changed my life. When he said, what a relief it is to know that the voice inside my head is not me.
Yes. That's one of many beautiful. Who in the hell is it, right? Yeah.
But then you're like, well, I'm the one observing it.
Yeah. That is a big thing.
It's huge.
Oh, you're there.
It's back there, but like I don't.
That's it.
If it's my signal or
We
what,
get
why
that.
stop it?
You have like
It's there right
graduates.
now.
Graduates. So experience you're having right now. So whatever is going on, you just look at it and you say, okay, what you trying to teach me? What is it I'm not getting? What is it I need to know? Why does this keep happening? Why does this keep showing up? Wearing a different pair of pants. Why do I always end up in this situation? You're supposed to truly ask that, not from a, why is this always happening to me? But really, what am I supposed to get that I'm not getting?
God.
And how do I grow from this moment? What is it here to teach
Let me let her finish this whole train of thought, and then I'll comment on it.
me about myself?
How do you then make?
So Oprah is describing the act of introspection, right? The act of really being with yourself, just being with yourself alone and reflecting on your day, reflecting on your interactions with people, reflecting on how you succeeded or did not succeed through conversations, reflecting on how you felt, how different situations made you feel, and asking those same questions. I wonder what that was. I wonder how that happened. I wonder what I missed. And not just going through lives, bumping into the same problems, doing the same things, and not changing or growing. I wonder what I can do, or I wonder who I can ask. Like, I wonder who might know, who can help me. I wonder how I can repeat this success. Like, if you are not extracting principles out of your pain, if you are not extracting purpose out of your prosperity. I know that's a lot of alliteration, but if you are not taking something with you when you win or taking something with you when you lose, you are missing out on some great tools that you can use for the future. So people really need to look at themselves. I heard someone tell a friend, I tell it to Roger all the time. I'm like, don't have me out there looking crazy. Please don't have me be that person that has something about myself that needs adjusting and fixing. Everyone else sees it. Everyone else knows. In fact, when you're there, they're looking at each other, they're like, everybody knows that there's this aspect about you that you need to work on and you don't know. And you're rejecting the fact that it's coming to you. Multiple people are telling you this thing, but you're rejecting the advice. Like, if you spend time with yourself, you will know that, you know what, I may need to work on this. I may need to address this. I may need to improve this. I may need to continue this, right? And there is a therapist online, and he says, he has this video where he says, I'm going to tell you the things that your therapist cannot tell you. I will tell you something your therapist cannot say to you. And one of the things he says is, you know what to do. You know what to do. Most of the time when someone brings a problem to you, they know exactly what to do. They know how that problem needs to be solved, but they're not using I am statements. They're talking about everybody else. But what do you need to do? How's that? And in many cases, people already know. And so I love the type of questions that are inward facing that Oprah is encouraging us to ask. So we really become better versions of ourselves. And if you go to my channel and you watch my introductory video and you watch my video about reflecting on you, that is what I'm hoping this channel can become, a space where we are like, wait a minute, let me address the things about myself that I need to improve before I make expectations of other people. Very powerful, very hard work, because looking in the mirror can be a little bit daunting, right? We really don't want to face the things we need to address. We really want to address other people and have them work on themselves without us really doing the hard work of improvement, right? But when you ask yourself these really rich questions that Oprah is mentioning, then you may force yourself into addressing one thing at a time as you go along, right? Let's continue.
Maintain an embodied experience in life as opposed to always coming from this meaning making thing, because that can be its own tyrant to you. You get what I mean? Where it's like, I find myself doing that all the time, where it's like everything's meaning, everything's a lesson, but I'm detached from the experience of what's happening to me because I'm so quick to find the lesson in it.
What is the real thing in it?
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Sometimes you're just having a good time. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the reasons why the Oprah show for 25 years was the number one show, in spite of, all the competition and all of the shows that came after us, I never looked at what the other people were doing because I was very much on point with what I knew I needed to do. And one of the things that changed that show was another book called Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav that I read in 1989. And it shifted everything for me, because in that book he talks about intention, that no matter what you're doing in life, that there's the law of cause and effect. Everybody who's listening to us right now, you believe in the law of karma, which is the same as the law of cause and effect. But before there's a cause, there's an intention. And that intention is going to always determine the effect. And so I sat down with my producers and I explained this principle, and I said, we're not going to do just shows anymore. We're going to do shows with intention, and we're going to do shows in a way that you have to tell me at the top of the idea what the intention is. And they're like, what the hell?
I can imagine.
I have to align with that intention. And if I'm not aligned with that intention, if I'm not right there, I have to find some truth in it in order to sit in this chair.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I can't just be up there talking about things I don't want to, that have no relevance or no grounding for myself. So I just have to find one thread that I can connect to so that I can say, okay, I believe in that. I can talk about that and people can feel my truth. And that's what changed the show. That's why we were number one for 25 years, because it was intentionally done. We talked.
Let me let her finish her statement.
About why do we want to do it? What do we want to get out of it? And for every interview, I did that.
It's interesting when you're talking about this.
So I agree so much with the statement that Oprah is making about, like, why are we doing this? When I first said, guys, I was telling everybody before I made the channel, I said, guys, I'm going to have a YouTube channel. And they would say, about what? And I was like, about life. Like, I'm not sure. And, they were like, okay, yeah, sure. I'll watch this YouTube channel about life. And then I noticed that every time I communicated that to someone else, they would say, what are you going to do? Like, why? And my why behind this channel is because we are not always operating at our fullest potential. And sometimes the next step that we need to our greatness, the next push to our greatness comes from something that someone else shares with us, comes from someone else's life experiences, from the benefit of socializing and sharing and questioning and learning. And that is really what I want the channel to be, right? It's like when you use a digital device, all the technology experts say that most of us are using less than 10% of the features on our electronic devices. We're not really using our phones and TVs and whatever electronics you have around. We only scratch the surface of all the capabilities of that item. And sometimes it's true for our fullest potential, right? Some people don't even spend enough time recognizing what their gifts, talents, and abilities are. Like, what is that thing that you do best? What is the thing that when you're doing it, you feel happiest, right? All of that comes from being very specific and very intentional. And I want to make sure that as we talk, as we grow, as we move, that we are really walking with our head up, chest squared, and that we're centering ourselves and we know what we're about. We're people of purpose. We're people that are benefiting from all of the connections and all the people in our lives, right? And that brings me to my request for you to subscribe and to make sure that you invite a friend. I really need your help. I need your support so that my channel can grow and thrive. And the YouTube algorithm recognizes engagement. Like if I post the most exceptional videos and no one likes them and people watch them, but they don't comment, they don't really share, and they're not my subscribers, the algorithm interprets that as a reflection of the quality of my video. So if you enjoy watching videos on PhD Chats, at Chats with Petal, and these videos bring you any joy and meaning, I need you to go and subscribe and to have one person subscribe and say, my friend needs your help. We need to get that subscriber count to 500, right? That is my next goal. So I need your help to get me there. But this interview so far is so exciting and so engaging. And it is really registering for me as someone who is at 1%, of where I want to see my channel grow. And I recognize the journey ahead I have to get my channel to where it's going to be. I feel extremely inspired listening to someone who traveled on that road, listening to Keke, who with this interview of Oprah is arriving at a huge milestone in her journey, and she's just getting started. So for me, I am closer to the start, right? I'm further away from hitting all the boxes and checking all the boxes I want to, but I'm definitely persisting in this pursuit, right? So thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and we're going back into the interview.
Because I think about what journalism is now and what it was then. I think about Barbara Walters. I think about Diane Sawyer. I think about the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Yeah.
The relationship to making things comfortable and relaxed, but still pushing and having the ability to get people to speak to what is real. I feel like I would say that sometimes it's lost, but the relationship that our current audience has to that kind of journalism seems to have changed.
Yeah.
I'm curious of, what you think that is and if you think it should come back.
Well, I think that people now are interested in a lot of surface things. I think, but ultimately, this is what I know in the soul of myself, is that people have not changed, even though it looks like our value system and the culture has changed and the politics has changed. But people still, I think, want goodness in their lives. And people want to be guided by a set of values and principles that open their heart to doing well in the world. People want to succeed and they want to be happy. This is what I learned from the Oprah Show, is that everybody wants the same thing. You want to know that you matter, and you want to be able to offer that to other people. And so even though we live in this culture where everything is quick and fast and this and ticky-tacky, everybody's, doing a lot of surface things, people really do want meaning in their life. They long to matter, and they long to know that whatever you're doing in life is giving you some purpose in the world. That's what I truly believe.
So many people have different experiences with you. So it would be from movies, obviously from Oprah Winfrey show. Sometimes it's clips, and now obviously your podcast. But I'm curious, what is for you the definition of living your best life now? What does it look like?
Well, it looks like freedom. It looks like being able to make the choices that are based on what do you really want, which I think is the most important question. I think when you're not free, not completely free, you can't make decisions based upon what you want. You have to do this is what I say to my girls who are, graduating from college and starting their first jobs, and they're talking to me about, work-life balance. At this point, I go, yeah, no work-life balance at 22.
That's tearing us up, by the way.
Yeah.
We're all trying to look for the balance. It ain't there.
No.
It ain't there. It's tearing us up.
It's not there. It's not there. You're not supposed to have it.
You're
supposed to lay in the work. And so I believe that for me, it's getting to this point in my life where my choices are that come truly from, the purest part of myself. I only do what I want to do. And I've earned the right to do that, because there was lots of times I had to do what I had to do. You have to do what you have to do, what you need to do, until you can do what you want to do.
And
you can't on these kids today. A lot of people think, I just want to do what I want to do. You got to work to be able to do what you want to do. Yeah.
But how do you know when it's over? Because when you say free,
when it's over,
how do you define it? And when I'm saying when it's over is what ends up happening. And I talked about this in the TED Talk. Is you working so hard to get free, and it's like you might be already there.
Yeah.
So Oprah said that there's no balance, right? And I think when people use the word balance, and I may have to go and look at the Oxford definition, if it absolutely means both sides of a thing are exactly the same, right? And I think that being in balance and balancing in the process of doing that might be two different things. And I definitely use the term work-life balance all the time, because as an educator, and I'm speaking on behalf of teachers all over the country and all over the world, with some exception, it is a job that requires you to do a lot of the things that support student success, the planning, the designing, the thinking, the looking for materials, the organizing. In order to become an exceptional teacher, star teacher, high quality teacher, it requires you to work outside of school. And so that infringes on your ability to mentally have a clear line between work and home. Right? And that is where the brain off, like turning your brain off and your body follows, that's where that gets lost, because you're coming home, but you're still in that work mode. You're still thinking, you're still planning. And so you're not really at rest. And that could be particularly unhealthy and lead to burnout. So I'm hearing the language of there is no balance. And I'm wondering if they're speaking to the idea that perfect balance doesn't exist, but pursuing a reasonable amount of work and recreation, right? Like learning and life and leisure. There needs to be some sort of appropriateness in how much of the life work you have to do and how much of that is time for you to rest and relax. But I always say to myself, work, then play. So I get that, but I absolutely am seeking a balance. Also, in terms of when you get to that place, there is a doctor, his name is Dr. James Dinick. He's on Instagram, and I repost his videos and share it all the time. But something that he posted the other day that was very impactful, and I'm reading it right off of his page. He said, stop measuring your life by what people see, right? Real success is invisible. A clear mind, strong values, loving relationships, work you're proud of, and I'm going to add a body that does what you request of it. Like having a mind that is relaxed and having something that when you complete it, you stand, you feel proud. Working with integrity, right? Being proud of your honesty and your character, the way you function in your spaces, and being healthy. That is wealth. Because how much would you pay for someone to take one of those things away from you, right? So let's listen to what Oprah says. How do you know when you are at that place.
How do you know what freedom is to you and when it's time to lay back? Because I feel like that was really, I mean, my nervous system is like, she's like, my nervous system is screaming to me like, she don't know. She don't know how to release them. 1, 2, 3, release them.
Okay. Have you been able to answer the question of what? Okay, so this is so interesting. Oh, we could talk all day about this.
Girl.
Do you know that when I was doing The Color Purple, I wrote in my journal. I've had kept a journal since.
Me too.
Yes. So, and I wrote in my journal then, my goal is to, one of the things I really want is a beautiful home, surrounded by beautiful things, surrounded by a life of people who respect me and I respect and hold in regard. I wrote that in 1985 while I was sitting in the tree in Color Purple waiting on my time to go to set. And that has been fulfilled for me in just like layers and layers and multitudes of ways. But I've always been clear about what I really wanted and what was going to give me peace. Do you know the answer to that question? That's what you want to say to yourself and to everybody who's listening and watching. What do you really want? And is what you want, or is what you want what you always thought you were supposed to want?
Well, this brings me to the other thing that I wanted to ask.
Okay. Is this what you always thought you wanted to want?
How do you know? So this is the thing, and I ask you specifically about love. I often am like, I need me a Stedman. Now, I don't know nothing about Mrs. Stedman's actual relationship.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious of is what you found. How much did it differ from what you thought you wanted?
Oh, let me just tell you, I paid a price to get there because I was a fool for many years.
Now that's T-Boo.
I went through some man troubles in my 20s, okay?
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
So I'm going to answer that question and then we will get back to the video. So I think when it comes to relationships, there's so many lessons. As I grow and mature, I often ask myself, like, I wonder how my relationship with my husband, how our dating, how the way our marriage unfolded would have been different if some of what I know now I knew then, right? And my thinking is that I attempt to extract those principles, those lessons, and then I can share that with someone else. I can apply them going forward. And one of those lessons is that the concerns and the problems that you encounter in life is never someone else's to solve. Someone else may have the responsibility to support you, but they do not have the responsibility to solve your problem. Solving your problem is yours to do. You own the direction, the pathway, the pacing, and you also decide who you bring aboard that ship with you to move you toward a solution, but you definitely do not shift an issue onto someone else to shoulder and to solve for you and then judge them and hold them accountable because they didn't check in, they didn't ask, they knew you were going through something, they didn't even say, they didn't even talk about it. That is really projecting a responsibility that you should own onto someone else, right? The other lesson I think I've learned, I wouldn't say it's a lesson I'm learning, but the truths that you uncover over time is that people are evolving and they're improving, and that there is no perfect human being, and that it is very important to focus, celebrate, improve, polish, exemplify, like exaggerate the best parts of someone, and to make sure that the things that someone is really great at doing and that they are succeeding at, that they get more and more and more opportunities to do those things so that they're always in a space of shining, and that some characteristics of a person or some tendencies may be something that is appropriate to accept. right? And that not every single thing that you want in a person is there, right? I don't know what lessons Oprah is going to say that she's learned, but I think those two things really, owning your own challenges, and also owning it doesn't mean, oh my God, I have to do this by myself. It actually is a moment of recognizing that you can, that you have everything within you to start the journey to what is solution. And that might require you inviting other people on to help you, but you are going to initiate the solution to your problem and not leave that to someone else. And celebrating the light in people, the just talking about and elevating all the amazing things, the amazing qualities, the amazing choices, the amazing characteristics of people, instead of hyper focusing on a few things about someone that you don't love. So I think that those are two amazing lessons that I would have loved to have known, coming into a marriage. And I, among many other amazing lessons that we've learned about love and about oneness and about, unconditional love and compromise and compassion and empathy, right? So those are two of the lessons. So we're moving back on to Oprah.
At one point,
Literally.
holding onto
On
the
his
bumper
car?
of his car.
No.
That's easy.
So we missed something, so let's go right back. I think we missed a little moment there.
And meet the moment. Peak summer is not waiting for you to get ready.
Oops. Quick ad, and let's jump right in.
There was a guy whose bumper I was holding on to at one point.
Literally.
Holding onto
On
the
his
bumper
car?
of his car.
No.
That's easy.
I love you.
That's easy.
Oh.
He pulls off, and I like fall, my knees all in the gravel and the whole thing, and all the apartments is looking at you, and you're like, it's all right. Yeah, I know. I've been there.
This is so.
And so that guy had said to me, the problem with you, baby doll, is that you think you're special. The problem with you, baby doll, is you think you're special. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't think I'm special. No,
Who says that?
I don't. And he was leaving and had slammed the door, and I ran after him, and I'm holding onto the bumper of the Datsun. Yeah, I think I was 23, 24 then.
When?
So I learned.
Yes. What was the thing that changed? What was the thing that stopped whatever this pattern was?
Okay.
What changed in you?
Well, I realized that I was no different than the women that I had grown up with, and I said I would never be that way. So I grew up with my mother's first cousin, Alice, had unfortunately, who's one of my abusers actually, was a guy that beat her, and I remember he knocked her down the stairs, and she had to go to the hospital. Broke one of her legs, broke an arm, and she took him back. And I always said, I will never, ever, ever be that woman. And when I was holding onto the bumper of the Datsun Z, I said, oh, I wasn't hit, but I'd become that woman. I saw myself. I saw my history. I saw the history of women in my family who allowed themselves to sacrifice their own power to men. And I said, I'm going to turn it around. And so I started attracting to myself a different kind of person.
What actions brought that on? Once that mental shift happened, what were the things that you can remember that became different about what you were attracting?
Okay, so I was always attracted to somebody who was in one way or another trying to tell me I wasn't good enough. And so that's why I'm saying that anytime you think it's about the other person, that person is showing up to show you who you are. So if you're in a relationship where you've taken a lot of stuff, it's really not about that person. It's about what is it about you that doesn't have the value for yourself that you're willing to let yourself be treated that way.
Absolutely. We accept the love we think we deserve. Whatever love you think you deserve, that's what you will accept. So if your self-worth is low, you have a lower expectation for the level of respect and affection that you can receive. And that when that love and affection is deficient, you will be okay with that because you are accepting what you think you deserve. So I 100% agree that that person, the way that someone is treating you is the way you've told them to treat you, because their access to you, their ability to perpetuate their negative behavior is allowed. It's happening because of your permission. Because by not distancing yourself from that person, even for a time, or by not setting clear boundaries, you're giving them permission to do it. You're saying it's okay, right? You can continue to do this. And so that behavior is being perpetuated because you're giving a silent thumbs up. You're giving a silent okay. I'm not a relationship expert, but I actually, Roderick and I both, we love talking to other couples about relationships and marriage. I also have great conversations on my channel about those topics, so go check out those videos, because I think relationships really expose our truest selves. Relationships and the way you manage that committed partnership with someone else will expose so much about your true self, right? So hearing Oprah say that her desire, her need to have this person in her life was more important than standing up to the toxicity, right? And people who are in domestic relationships where there's domestic violence, they will also say that that person being in my life was more important than ridding myself of the harm and of the danger and of the dysfunction. This person validated me. I needed their love. I wasn't willing to risk not being loved. And so since I was getting it from them, I chose to accept everything that came with that person, good and bad, right? And it's sad to hear, but it's also very refreshing when someone comes to that realization, right? Let's continue.
It's not about him. So now I thank him. I thank him. I realize that all of the bad relationships were my best teachers. My best teachers. So if you're in a bad relationship, if you're somebody that's not loving you the way you want to be loved or seeing you the way you want to be seen, that's not on them. That's on you. That's on you. And the reason it keeps showing up wearing a different pair of pants is because God, the universe, the life force is trying to get you to see it. And how bad does it have to get for you to see it? That's why it's happening.
This ties back to also when you just said the quote of, when you were on back of the bumper and he's saying, you just think you're special. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. This makes me just think about the conversation around shame. Yeah. Because I think a lot of times when we hear that as people, this concept of value or esteem, it's like, well, actually, I like myself. I think I'm this. I think I'm that. But sometimes the shame is actually coded with this thing of like, I think I'm so awesome that I'm embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you get what I mean by this?
Yeah, I do get what you mean by because, to be with somebody who doesn't see your true value and worth and who's trying to make you feel like, I was a local television reporter, which is in that market, you are the big deal in that market, but, and people know you and you go to the store and people know who you are. So it's like you're a little fish or a big fish in a little pond. And he was like, oh, you think you're something because you're on the news, that kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I don't. And so I was out to try to, in my early 20s, trying to make the other person, that person believe that I'm just like everybody else. Boom. That's it.
That is dangerous.
That is dangerous.
Because what's so funny is within this same conversation, you had the situation, clearly there was such great growth there because you had the same conversation with the man and you said, I want to be a mogul.
Yeah.
So you, at this point, it was like, I know I'm special.
Yeah. And
I know what I can achieve.
Yeah.
How you get on me? That's
how did I get to that?
Owning.
Yes. Yeah.
Owning that I'm Oprah Winfrey. Because that's what people got to get to. Because we all are special. I truly believe this.
I truly believe it too.
I truly believe this. But it's literally like that Marianne Williamson quote.
But yes. But here's the thing. It's those years. It's the years of the holding onto the bumper. It's the feeling what a jerk he was. I was blaming myself for it. Like, what could I have done differently? And so I was like, I would say around 26, 27, I came out of it. 28, I started doing my local talk show. 30, I moved to Chicago. By
Wow.
30, I was solidly into this is what I want and this is what I want to achieve for myself.
Yeah.
But it took me some growing to get there. And you know what? If you grew up in an environment, and I say this all the time because one of the reasons why I feel so solidly grounded in life and so wise is that I have been obedient to the call of my life and I have paid attention.
Mhm.
I'm not just willy-nilly. I'm not a part of the walking dead going through life. I'm paying attention to everything.
Wow.
And I'm learning from every experience. And one of the reasons why I've been so gifted with blessings is because I had experience after experience after experience after experience to learn from on the show. I wasn't just doing a show. I was absorbed into what it means to create this kind of human behavior and how do I avoid that? I don't want to, you know what? And I think for a lot of people who watch the show and also now the podcast is like, oh, I ain't that crazy. Yeah. I can learn from other people's lessons. So I learned a lot from other people's lessons.
How has your
Yes, Oprah. Yes, Oprah, to the statement that I was obedient to the calling. You know, sometimes when I sit alone, which is often, I sit and I talk out loud to myself, I often reflect on how few people, and more in some cultures than others, seek the help of a mental health professional, right? Because we associate going to see a psychologist if you're sick, if or going to see a licensed therapist if something is wrong. When our mental health needs the same check-ins as our physical health, as our emotional health, as our spiritual health, right? And one positive practice that I think everyone should do, like I text myself messages, or if I have a moment or I succeeded at something, I just text it to myself. I literally go into my phone and I go into my messages and I just text myself a note. I write it down. I leave myself a voice note, which is most common. We should not be walking around unaware of the things that we're good at and the amazing, wonderful things that we are. And not just I'm smart, I'm wonderful, I'm kind to people. Like I'm a really good cook. Like yesterday, a student that I've been working with solved a math problem that a math concept they did not understand at the beginning of the year. I helped a work colleague, sort through a difficult emotional time. I'm compassionate. Like not just the adjectives, but those moments where you shine and where you feel really great about yourself because you did something that made you proud and made you see yourself in a positive light, that we need to take note of those things. And on the days where you feel worthless and hopeless, and you feel like you're a loser, that those are the things you have to tell yourself, like, look at what I'm capable of, right? Especially the moments where people are saying positive things about you and you feel like the statements are too lofty, like they are above your true capability. Like this person is saying all of these amazing things about me because they don't really know me. Those are the very moments that you want to take note, because people are seeing a light in you that you have not yet recognized yourself. And so it's super important that you are speaking positively. I remember hearing all of this positive talk and affirmations for many years, and it just seems so empty. Like, why? Right. So I'm just going to go in the mirror and I'm just going to say things to myself, and I'm going to have a great day just by saying, you are wonderful, you are smart. It sounded so ritualistic and so shallow. But for centuries, even in the Bible, people have been speaking to themselves, like having conversations with yourself, telling yourself what you can do, what you're capable of, and who you are. And it absolutely is a recipe for success. Because think about it, if you have a child or a person, and every morning before this person leaves the home, you say, you are stupid. That's it. With no accompanying action, with no accompanying gesture, with no statement, with no supporting details. You just look at a child and say, you are stupid. You are not worthy. You are stupid. You say that to a child 365 times for the year and see the way that child functions in the world. Because it's words, is it going to be benign? No, it's not. Words absolutely have creative power. And so it is extremely important that you take note of those moments where you rock. Remind yourself that you're a good mother. Remind yourself that you're an excellent manager. Remind yourself that your siblings are lucky to have you as a brother. Remind yourself of the moments that you shine, and speak them into yourself and take note of them. Text them to yourself. Start a text thread to yourself about how amazing you are. Let's jump right back into this amazing interview. If you are logging on, if you are watching the video after it's posted, after this amazing live, I am watching Keke Palmer, who was a young child when Oprah began her journey as the premier TV interviewer in the world ever. Oprah has not been matched, right? I think she just left her stamp there forever to be at the top because no one can best the journey and the excellence that she demonstrated and the consistency over 36 years or so. And Keke Palmer, watching her as a child, is now interviewing Oprah Winfrey. And I am using both of these amazing women as motivation for my own journey here, first as a YouTube content creator, ultimately to create a podcast and to create a wonderful space and community where we all thrive and support each other. And I need your help. A subscription would be amazing. So subscribe to the channel and follow this video, share this video, ask one person if you are already subscribed, because I know my subscribers are going to watch the video. If you are already subscribed, I need you to tell your friends at Chats with Petal. Do you want to chat with my cousin, my friend Petal? Then go to YouTube and put at Chats with Petal. Subscribe if you aren't already subscribed and get someone else to subscribe. So I'm watching this video. It is filled with inspiration and purpose and intentionality. I hope you're getting from it, but I am getting, and we're jumping right back in.
Curiosity evolved because, like you said, 3,500 people plus.
Yeah.
Where do you find the desire or the urge? And I mean, look, human beings are so exciting and
Yes.
unique, so I get that. But what drives this next chapter of what you want to talk about?
Because I am continually interested in the rising of the human experience, of how we meet the rising of our lives.
Love it. Love Keke.
I think that we as human beings have been given this planet. My God, you look at God's like, when are y'all going to get it together?
Okay.
Over there on Earth.
So
And so being able to help people to see that through, storytelling, on the podcast and in other areas is still something that brings me great joy, stimulation, and curiosity.
Did you realize at the time, I think it's so important to ask people such as yourself, I mean, you are a cultural institution, but I always wonder, especially for any of us that are on our path, what did it feel like during the time? Did you actually feel like when you were doing the Oprah Winfrey show, I'm making something crazy, incredible, that's going to last a lifetime? Or did it feel chaotic and nerve-wracking? And you know what I mean?
Well, it was the joy of, all the stuff that happens when you have a team in place, and none of us are who we are without all the people in the background.
That's facts.
That's facts. Making it happen. And so there was a machine that was really humanized by all of the passion and desire of producers and the entire staff to do a good job for the audience every day. And we decided around 1989, but certainly I decided that I wasn't going to just be a show. I was going to be a force for good in the world.
Wow.
And I did that after doing a show with the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, I saw the Ku Klux Klan giving signals to each other. I was trying to, show their vitriol and their hatred. And I realized, I'm doing the opposite. I'm creating a platform for them to spread their vitriol.
Unity.
And I had done another show where a husband had his mistress on and his wife on, and he embarrassed his mistress in the middle of the show. He embarrassed his wife by saying, "Oh, you don't know she's pregnant." And I said, "Oh, no, we don't." To see her face and her humiliation. I go, I'm not going to be a part of that. So I sat down with the team and said, that thing I was talking about earlier, how do we just do work that is intentional to lift up people's lives? How do you do a show every single day, no matter what it is? It's infused with some piece of light in it, that people walk away with something that it's like, oh, that was worth my time.
Yes, right. How
Yes.
can I be of service to you?
Well, that's the word. The
You
word
know?
is service. The word is service.
Because otherwise, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't want to take from you. Everybody's already taking from you.
Everybody is taking everything.
So if I'm going to sit up here and ask for a minute of your time, you like Denzel, I'm leaving something. You know, you need to put something.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I really love that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what it means to be a Black woman in these spaces.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And how you have to overcome so much based off perception, what people are expecting of you, while at the same time still being true to who you are.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We're almost there, right? We're more than 3/4 way through the video. If you're now tuning in, I am doing my very first reaction video, right? I chose this video because I felt like it really demonstrated the past meets the present. You know, Oprah Winfrey being interviewed by someone who was a child, you know, when she was starting her journey, and just listening to her talk about what to us may have looked like this wonderfully smooth, perfect experience, waking up each day, getting into hair and makeup, and going in front of the camera and the lights, and being, you know, this wonderful talk show host that's really captivating audiences, and being the first to do many things. Like Oprah was really the trailblazer. Like she initiated systems and types of interview guests, and asked questions that no one else was willing to ask at the time. And then her owning her own production company and the network. All of that is so inspirational, and it reminds us that in whatever space you're in, right? I decided to go on a content creating journey a couple years ago. I'm also an educator, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, family member, but whatever new venture that you embark upon, I want you to remember that you set the goal really high, right? I think that sometimes we look at where we are and we just push the envelope a little bit, but it's really important for us to set the goal really high and speak positively. Like I love when I'm around someone who just has wonderful dreams and goals and speaks life, and you know, is facing difficult things, but they're so positive. There's something very therapeutic about that for your mind, right? As opposed to being around someone who is always a problem, they're always sad, they're always depressed. Woe is me, I'm so sad, I'm struggling, I'm the only person in the world with this problem, right? But someone who can really say, I'm going to get past this. I have to focus. This was really hard for me, but I am trying to lock in because I have other things to take care of. I have other people depending on me. That is grit. That is resilience. That is someone who might be internally devastated by something, but they're like, listen, I know what I have to do and I'm going to get through it. So it is a reminder for me. You know, sometimes I definitely get daunted. I feel like the odds are against me. I feel like this space is past and that my life isn't engaging and interesting enough. And I don't have enough of the it factor to make people tune in and watch. And then I come up with an idea. I get the script. I get my B-roll. I edit this video. It takes so much time. And then like 5 people watch it. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe I've lost the plot. Maybe I'm completely off track. Let me go back to my notes. Let me see what I plan to do. You know, you can really get inside your head, and that negative voice is often lying to you, right? It's often very disconnected from reality. So I am inspired. I am so inspired. I'm never going to give up this journey. I'm going to pursue and persist, and it's going to change form, and I'm going to amend and edit and make sure that it the content and the structure of this channel meets the preference of my viewers, and we're going to do great things. And I'm going to do it with your help, because you are going to subscribe to this video, share it, leave a comment, please. And you are going to make sure that one person that you think will get value from these videos subscribes as well. And at Chats with Petal is also my Instagram handle. So go on Instagram, follow me there so we can connect. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and have such an amazing time with each other and learn and grow, right? Let's jump right back into the video. I'm going to attempt to skip through some of these ads so that we can get back to the meat of this interview.
We make way too many decisions every day. That's why I choose Fruit of the Loom's women's underwear. They make everyday choices easy.
I'm getting a rotation of ads here, so I'm trying to jump in. All right, we're back in business.
It's
Let's
so
go.
interesting because we can find ourselves learning so many different languages, so to speak. And then by the time that you get there, the very people that were motivating you to get to that place sometimes don't even recognize you. You go from being the underdog or someone that people are rooting for to sitting on the top of the mountain, and all of a sudden you don't look the same
To them.
to them.
But those are the people who couldn't handle the oxygen. They couldn't handle the climb. So you cannot bring everybody along with you. And I will say this to anybody who's listening at whatever level you are, particularly if you are the first person in your family to break through. Then I remember in those early days when my salary was, all over the front pages of all the tabloids and stories. And, now that I look back on it, I can see how much God loves me, because at the time, because I'd always been in television since I was 19 years old, I was just going from one job and now I'm going to do this job. And I realized that doing my own show in Chicago was a big deal, but I never expected to become. I remember telling my father when I was in the barbershop, my father had a barbershop in East Nashville one day, that actually this is a better story. When my father was dying in 2022, we were sitting out on the porch. And my father said, is it true what they say? I said, what do you mean? He goes, they say you're a billionaire.
Huh?
Is that true?
You say you what?
A billionaire.
Okay.
That's what my father said to me. He says, is that true? This is in 2022, July 5th, 2022. And I said, yeah, it's true. He goes, well, that's something. That's really something. He goes,
So I'm going to make a plug right here. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a financial analyst. I'm not a financial advisor or an asset manager. It's not my expertise. But I may evolve in my current perspective on this, but I really do believe that being a billionaire in a world where there is poverty is actually grotesque. I find it repulsive. And my aim was really to make the video without ever saying anything negative. There are a few moments in the video that, that my commentary would not have aligned with the general trend of what I want this video to be, right? So I just opted not to. But I'm going to talk about, if Oprah is about to say she's a billionaire, which she is, and I know she is, and I mentioned it earlier in the video, but I just want to say that there is something very crafty, and there is something that is dishonest and not in good faith, that we have a structural system in our world where one person, unskilled or not, can work for 40 hours a week, which is what we say you should do, and that person still cannot purchase all of their living expenses and pay for where they live. And I find that to be a grave, uh, it is an injustice to citizens who are living, being lawful, getting into work, working hard, and going home. That there has to be a correlation with what the cost of living is and how much you earn. And the idea that a CEO can make 7 million a year and that you can pay an employee that is starting out 750 an hour is, it's an atrocity, and it is perpetrated by people, I believe, allegedly, in my opinion, people who are curating society to keep some people at the bottom and to elevate others to a position of power where they are basically controlling things like governments that they really have no business um, dictating to. So no one should be a billionaire because we have not yet really grasped the concept of how much money that is. It's 1,000 million, right? You have $1 million 1,000 times. And so I couldn't let it pass. I could not let it pass. So I am not impressed by that. She deserves all the accolades. I mean, she's earned them. She stands alone in many facets of who she is. But a billionaire it's an ugly reality in a world where financial, economic status is so disproportionate. And I think it's an ugly truth. And yeah, I'm repulsed by the idea that our society creates those two extremes. And I think it's by design, right? So let's listen to what she says about that.
You never talked about being a billionaire. Now, you always talked about being a millionaire. You always said that one day you were going to be a millionaire. And I remember you running around the barbershop talking about you were going to be a millionaire. And I remember Mr. Thomas, when you became a millionaire, said, Oprah always said she was going to become a millionaire. I didn't know how she was going to do it, but she did it. So now you're telling me you're a billionaire. I said, well, I never talked about being a billionaire. I didn't know there wasn't such a thing.
Right.
I didn't even know there wasn't such a thing. And so this idea that I have always had a belief that my life was bigger than I could even imagine, because I always thought I was like, I belong to something bigger than myself, which is the higher power of God.
Right.
And so I actually do believe and did believe that through Christ you can do all
things.
I really do.
You can.
I really do.
My life is a testimony to that.
So is mine.
Many of us are not living at our full potential.
So all the things that people thought a Black woman should be or should do, it never occurred to me that I couldn't do what I've done. It never occurred to me. It just never occurred to me. Never occurred to me. Because I always saw myself as a little Black girl who was truly God's child. So much so that when I started school, and I didn't even know who my father was at the time. When I started school, I used to tell people, they say, who your dad? I go, Jesus is my daddy. They go, this girl crazy. She up here talking about Jesus is her daddy. So I really grew up believing that I could do all things because I was God's child. And so when I walked into the newsroom and I was the only Black woman there, I just assumed I was supposed to be there because God had made the way for that. It never occurred to me to feel like I didn't belong because I knew God had created the path for me to be there. When I got the job in Baltimore and was criticized for being Black, let me just tell you, I didn't realize that I was doing an interview with Tracy Ellis Ross about hair. We were doing a big thing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so why are you crying?
Because I feel that exact same way, where even in my human moments where it's scary, or you could, people call it imposter syndrome, whatever. My courage has always came through because I have such a deep faith in God.
I don't have
Literally,
my
the source. It's like no matter what seems strange on the outside, it has never guided or stopped or thwarted my ability to push forward. And I think the tears are also coming from, first of all, it's an overwhelming sense of recognition, and then it's like how when people don't have that, when they don't know that, when they can't find their connection to that, I also feel grief for that.
Yeah.
Because certain things are out of your control,
That's
but
right.
that does not mean that it can stop you. And yet we are living in a world where people feel absolutely stopped. They feel like every hill is too high. There's no road they can get past, and that really saddens me.
Well, it saddens me, but can I say it saddens me? No, it doesn't sadden me. I'm not even sad about it anymore. You will get to the point where you won't be sad anymore about it, because you will be so grateful that you're one of the people who understands how it works. And so what I never understood when I was a kid is like people going to church, praying to God, and then going home and worrying. So here, when I lived in Chicago,
Let me talk about my gripe with Christians, right? Because Oprah just talked about people going to church and praying and then coming home and worrying. One of my qualms with Christianity is that, in my perspective, it doesn't do enough to empower. It doesn't speak enough about authority and about boldness and about the can, right? And I know there are many denominations, and there's a conversation online about Black evangelicals and white evangelicals, and who is a theologist and who has studied theology and emotionalism. So I am making a broad statement that across all of those realms and all of those denominations and religious persuasions, there is not enough talk about authority. Because as Christians, we are claiming to be connected to the divine. We are claiming to be connected to the designer, the great designer, who has orchestrated us to walk on this earth with supernatural power and an awareness of our purpose. So we should be going forward in boldness, untouchable, right? With difficulties, yes. With challenges, yes. But with grit and resilience. Like, that is the language I want to hear spoken to me. And that is how I want the Bible to be interpreted and presented to me, so that I have an authoritative, confident gait, and I am speaking life, like just my language and my talk. I have had enough about God is going to get you through. I know there's somebody here with a struggle. I know you have a wayward child and you're trying to pay your bills, and it's just, and people are crying, and those tears are sad, and it's a defeatist type of energy, and I can't take it, and so COVID has relegated me to an online church attender, and I am processing my willingness to be back in the space of that communal spiritual experience. But I will say that as a Christian, my purpose in being aligned to biblical principles, right, alongside all the conversation about the Bible, what parts of it are literal, what parts of it are figurative and symbolic, along with all of that language, the precepts for living, the principles for living in there are supposed to give me an authority that makes me untouchable and confident as I exist in this world. So I agree with that. You can't go to church, speak to the Almighty, speak to a God that's omniscient, knows all things, and then come and worry about things. You are supposed to be given if you're in a space where they're teaching you steps for living a successful life, actionable steps for success in the world, like literal things that you do to align yourself with greatness, and information about financial success, emotional success, relationship success, right? And not emotionalism. So that one is definitely, yes, we need to fix that for sure.
A kitchen faced the Lake Michigan, and the sun would come up every morning over the lake. And I would stand there drinking my tea or coffee or whatever it was at the time, and I would just watch the sun rise before heading off to work. And I think my faith is like that. I have sunrise faith. All of us have been in an airplane where it's pouring, raining on the ground, and all kinds of crazy things are happening on the ground, and then you shoot above the clouds, and there the sun is there. It's always there.
Yeah.
Well, the power of God, the power of the force of your life, which you can feel in your breath. In every breath, there is the force of life breathing with, above, around, and through you. I have faith in that thing. I have faith in the thing that causes that sun to come up every morning. And the thing that made that sun come up every morning, certainly if I am in alignment with the truth of myself and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm moving in the direction that I'm supposed to be moving, it's going to meet me where I am. And it's going to grow me to the next level. That is what has happened in your life. That is what has happened in my life. And in all those years, I was journaling and I was praying. I have these journals where I'm, asking God to help the guy whose bumper I was holding on to. God, please make him love me. Help him to see that I'm really the woman he needs and all that crazy. What I realize now is God was waiting on me. I'm waiting on God to do something to change him, and God is waiting on you. And so it's all about, what do you really want, and are you in alignment with with your purpose?
I believe every day that I'm in alignment with my purpose. I'm going to make a bold statement. When I stand in front of my students and I stand in front of the classroom, I know that I am functioning in the purpose. I'm doing the thing that God made me to do. I know that I am supposed to be helping other people through language, through a space where conversations are happening, learning and growing is happening. That is what I'm supposed to be doing here on this earth. I know it. I don't know for a fact if being in front of a New York City public school class is the final place for me, and that there is a variety of other things that I will do in my life. But I know that God is calling me to use my gift of conversation and to use my empathy and wisdom and knowledge and learning to teach and to guide and to learn and to serve, right? And to be a servant of people that will benefit from reciprocal conversations, right? I never claim to have the answer. I've lived a lot of life. I've had a lot of experiences. I'm never claiming to know everything. Even as a teacher, I am learning from my students. They become my teachers, right? So it's this reciprocal space, but I know that whatever I do in the earth, I'm supposed to be just where I am. And that's why, spaces and situations just call me. Like YouTube is just calling me. And I didn't listen at first because it was recommended, suggested to me a few years ago, a couple of times, like you should get your own show. You should be on YouTube. You should do this. You should do that. But you brush it off because sometimes self-belief isn't at the level it should be at. But I know that I am functioning in my purpose. And I also know that there's a lot of work for me to do. Like I have a lot of research. I have a lot of structuring. I have a lot of systems. I have a lot of learning. I have aspects of this whole process that I don't enjoy doing, right? The work that happens in the back that I have to do to perfect my craft, because I'm not just going on talent. You have to create a skill, and creating a skill takes work. Everybody has a gift. talent, abilities that you don't really have to put effort towards demonstrating it. It's something you always did, right? It's the difference between someone who can sing and someone who gets a vocal coach. Now you've created that talent into a skill that you can sharpen, or someone who's just naturally able to prepare tasty, healthy meals. And then you go to culinary school and you perfect that craft, right? So I have a lot of work and reading and learning and being mentored, um, and an uphill climb in order to prepare myself for the spaces I want to be in, because I feel comfortable sitting in front of a camera and talking, right, for a couple of hours doesn't mean that, okay, great, now I'm waiting for God to open up the door. Now I'm waiting for the opportunity. I also have to work and to pursue and to seek and to structure and to organize. And so I also feel very confident that I'm on my way to something even greater, right? It's never too late in life to evolve. It's never too late in life to switch. It's never too late in life to rebrand. And I am pursuing a successful pathway online, and I need your support. I need you to subscribe to the channel. I need you to recommend this channel to other people. I need my audience to grow. And it's a very granular step in the process of actually having people visit your channel and hit that subscribe button every single time. And every time you come to PhD Chat at Chats with Petal, I want you to share the video with a friend. If you come online, I want you to share the video with someone. Once you log in and you watch the video, click share, share it to one friend, send them a text. I just watched this video, check it out, leave a comment. Maybe it's something I have to do better. Maybe it's something I have to do different. The mic I chose came from a commenter, right? Someone that messaged me. The light box I used came from someone who said, one of your videos was dark. Here's what you should use. The app I'm using right now, StreamYard, to share to Facebook and YouTube simultaneously and share my screen, that came from a commenter. I was doing my own research, but I made a video soliciting support and feedback. And so I value the fact that someone saw a video, took their time and said, listen, this wasn't, someone messaged me, they said the volume was really loud. I had to turn it down when I came in. It's trial and error. So I need you, but I need you to support this channel through subscribing and also through encouraging people that to subscribe and tell them amazing things are in store. And their subscription might even set them up to be someone that I interview, because I believe, I'm going to come close to the camera, that there is value and worth and lessons in everyone's life story. We discount people because we try to measure their worth by their accomplishments. And that is so misleading. But there is so much wealth of knowledge and perspectives in everyone's life story. People that you see that you think, oh, that's all they've done in life. They might have the level of resilience and grit that might be remarkable and inspiring. Everyone has an amazing life story to tell. Even their struggle is motivating, right? Because they are at a place where they're looking up the mountain and they have to continue moving up. So I need you to subscribe. I need you to let your friends and family members subscribe to this channel so that we can continue to grow and that I can benefit from what I learn from you and vice versa. And we can create a wonderful community of reciprocal learning, right? So let's continue. Believe in yourself, guys, always.
As I was going to say, the great teaching from Seed of the Soul for me, there's a great line in there that says, when your personality, you have a great one, you have a big one, your personality's huge, okay? Ginormous personality, comes to serve the energy of your soul. That is authentic empowerment. So that means when you are using, no matter who you are, if you are using your personality what your talents, your gifts, to serve the deeper reason why you're here, then you are in alignment with purpose, and nobody can touch you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, because you are in alignment with that thing, that force that makes the sun come up every morning. You are in alignment with that thing. And so why am I going to walk in a room and feel that because I'm a Black woman, anything other than I am supposed to be here? Because God is the one who paved the way for me. I did not get here by myself. I mean, listen, I live in some of the most beautiful spaces in the world, but there is not one moment that I look outside my yard and I don't see the presence of God that got me there.
Wow.
I mean, I paid for it. I paid for it. But the fact that I'm in that space was a gift to me.
Yeah.
And the same thing, you're rising. I see you rising.
Yes, Keke.
And I see
Yes,
you
Keke.
meeting that rising
Yes.
for yourself. And I will tell you that your future is so bright, it burns my eyes.
Oh my goodness, that is
That's what's
beautiful.
coming for you. That is what's coming for you. Because you are willing.
I mean, I'm left speechless because the way that Oprah is speaking to Keke right now is the way that we should position ourselves to speak into someone else's life. Because if we are being intentional and being insistent and deliberate about seeing other people's light, because you know what we do really, really well? We find fault. We always have a word of criticism. We always have something on our mouths to criticize someone about, right? So if we can be easily critical, then we can also be easily complimentary, and we can find the things in people. And you know, as a parent, and I'm seeing this to myself, and I'm seeing this to the parents, not just the biological parents, right? The aunties, the uncles, the godparents, the neighbors, the teachers, the parents, everyone who is in the orbit of a child that is close to you. It is your job to make that child feel like a rock star in your presence. That is your job as an adult, to just let that child bask in their greatness. Children should be inundated with praise because they're doing amazing things all the time. But as adults, our default setting is to criticize them and to point at the things they don't do, and we're silent until the child makes a mistake, right? But your job as an adult is to create a world where children are just seeing themselves reflected in your eyes and just hearing all the amazing things that they are. That's our job, to make children feel like rock stars, little gods on the earth. And we have to be watching and looking for all the things they do well, right? When they complete their homework, when they shower themselves well, when they pack away their toys, when they use their manners, when they're kind to their friends, when they get to school on time. And as teachers and adults, that is what children should be hearing in their ear. What they should not be hearing is nothing until they make a mistake, because that is when children start to act out because they need our attention. They feel invisible. A lot of times children come into our spaces in classrooms and they are dying for attention. So they start throwing things. They're breaking things. They're cracking the pencil. They're throwing it at each other. They're cursing. They're speaking out loud. They want to be seen. And they have been trained that if I want to get the attention of an adult, I need to misbehave. And so they're looking. It's the easiest way, right? And so it takes a lot of restraint and a lot of strategical thinking in the classroom for a teacher to ignore the positive behaviors, planned ignoring that is purposeful and successfully gets the behavior to stop, and then praising the desired behaviors. I'm listening to how Oprah is speaking life to Keke. And I agree, because when I saw her first interview, I think it was her interview with Nia Long, I was hooked. I mean, Kiki's gifting, the natural way within which she speaks, the homework she does, because when she is referencing the art of the person she's interviewing, the movie, she's speaking to lines, she's speaking about the series at this point, which episode, like she does her homework and she comes prepared to do a substantive interview that is meaningful, and she has wowed her guests a couple of times. They're like, you remember the line from the movie? Yes, she does. She does her homework. She's planned. She's prepared. She's poised. I love the way her podcast, and there are a lot of podcasts on YouTube, but I love the way Keke does hers. So sitting there and watching her be the recipient of the way that Oprah is speaking life into her is extremely inspiring. It's extremely inspiring. And I think she's blessed to be in that space. And we are all watching and we are communally in agreement right now. We're agreeing that, yes, Keke, your light is so bright. You're going places. I said at the beginning of this video that I feel like she's the next Oprah. Like, and Oprah is the blueprint to an extent, but Keke might surpass what she's done, because she is so gifted and so I don't want to say perfect, but she's so pristine in how she's executing this opportunity. I am excited. I love it. Let's listen in. I'm going to play it full screen right now.
To be in alignment with the true purpose of your life, and you're not just out here playing. And when you stop playing, Maya used to say to me all the time that, baby, one day you're going to, right now you're in show business, but one day you will be about your father's business. When you can align your business with your father's business.
How did you make your philosophy something that you could scale?
Oh,
because it's not just superficial. It's not, this is, and obviously this is no shade to somebody making a lip gloss or something like that. That's not at all. But when I think about the business of Oprah Winfrey, you found a way to create an ecosystem around things that are actually very, the big ideas about growth, about inspiration,
about who you can be.
About who you can be.
It's not just who you be. It's like who you already are. But can you meet the rising? I mean, you've already been created to do great things. And stop playing with yourself.
How did you make that scalable business?
I'm about to steal that for my children. I'm about to tell Peyton that instead of get up and clean your room, I'm going to say you're already created to do great things. Stop playing with yourself. Stop playing with your potential. You are already created to be amazing. I mean, knowing that Peyton and children around me need to be a rock star. I continually tell children that I see your light. I see brightness. I see your gifting. I see your strength. I saw you yesterday. What's happening today? I see who you are, right? And I'm growing and evolving as a teacher, so I want to do more of that. But you know, who would God be to create you deficient of skills, deficient of strengths, just to fight up on the earth, just to come on the earth and fight up and struggle and not know what's going on, right? You are created with a gift and something to do, and something to do well. And according to what the therapist said, you know what it is. You know what it is. People say, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. You know what it is. You know that thing that you can do well without thinking about it. You know that thing that when you're doing it, you can go on and on and on forever. Like you don't want to stop. You're good. People ask you to do it. Like there are things and spaces that you know you excel in and you're masterful at it without effort. That's your talent. That's your gift. and your ability, and now you need to polish that into a skill, and that's the work, right? That's it. It's the work that takes that and makes it something explosive, but it's already there. It's already there.
Come before you? Was it?
Well, no. The reason, it's so interesting you're saying this, because I remember in the early years, people would say, the Oprah brand, and I was always offended by that. I know now everybody wants their own brand, but I was offended by the idea of people calling me a brand, because I thought I'm not a brand, I'm a person, and all of this is just coming from myself. And so the reason why it's become scalable for me, because it's the truth of me. I was seeking it for myself. I was seeking it for myself. I wanted to be whole. I wanted to fulfill the mission of my calling. I wanted to honor God's dream for me.
Yes.
And I think creation has a dream for everyone it's created.
Oh, yes.
And my advice to people is lean into that dream and stop trying to dream it for yourself, or align your dream with God's dream for you. What is that dream? What are you really here to do that's bigger than you playing around? What's bigger than your paycheck? What's bigger than the thing that, has you, lit up or partying or whatever? There's something bigger, deeper going on for all of us. And what is the why? What is your why?
Are there signs that people can touch on that point towards that? Meaning, like, when you know that you are in alignment, or when you know that you are guided.
You tell me when you've seen it. You tell me.
Well, when I've seen it in my life, what I feel like it is I'm following the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's like I'm making my choices not based off of directly the outcome, but what feels real to me. I'm almost sometimes feeling like I'm being literally led by a force to say something, to make a choice, to make a decision. It feels like it's just coming through me, as opposed to I'm trying to design it. And so sometimes it is difficult when even I'm asked this question about what it means to be in alignment. I think I always come back to finding a way to be present enough first. I think I always start there. I love Pilates because of that. I know you do Pilates
I love
too, because
I completely identify with the idea of knowing that you are in alignment, because it feels effortless. There's something that feels like you're doing something that you're not really thinking about, but you're producing excellence. It is effortless, and it is being powered, almost like it's being powered by your confidence, being powered by your certainty, being powered by your divisiveness, but by your decisiveness, and being powered by your persistence. And it's an indescribable feeling. I feel that in moments in my relationship with my husband, my marriage. I feel that when I parent. I feel that when I stand in front of the classroom. I feel that in conversations with my friends, that I am, something kind of takes over a little bit, or maybe something takes under, and I let go of the effort. I let go of the doing and the thinking. And as the young people say, you're in flow state, right? You just feel like this is happening either with an external assistance, or it's coming from inside, and it's so powerful that almost like I'm stepping back, so you will know that thing, or those moments where this is something that you have to do. And maybe you talk to someone about it. She's thinking out loud, right? They're processing, she's bouncing things back and forth, she's asking Oprah questions, Oprah is redirecting the questions to her. So it's being fleshed out, right, in real time in front of our eyes. And that's what makes it so entertaining. So in the same way, I think that you may need to have a conversation with someone. You may need to flesh that out and talk it out in order to really hone in to what that thing is. Let's listen to how Keke explains her thinking.
really allows you to
You
fluctuate.
got to get that toe on the bar. You got to get. They all got to be.
It's a lot of alignment.
Yeah. Jesus. Now your back is out too. Okay.
But it's good with these new knees.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay.
Oh, look at Oprah.
I'm always thinking about how to know when I'm embodied
Yeah.
and when I'm not embodied.
Yeah.
That helps me to also figure out what's leading me, how I'm actually being
Yeah.
in the moment.
Yeah.
But it's almost like something that you just feel. It's an inner thing that I've always felt since I was a little girl. Like when you were
Yes.
talking about, what your dad was saying that you were saying in the barbershop. I was like that as a kid. I always knew that there was something bigger than me. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure if that was just because I grew up in the church. My dad's a deacon. Like, was that just that connection? Like, I'm always trying to figure out how to distill what has allowed me to become, because the process of becoming is so.
I can tell you what it is. Even if you haven't articulated it for yourself, it means you listened to something beyond the voice in your head.
Yes.
You were the observer of the voice in your head, like we we're talking about. And you were able to listen to the still, small voice
Yes.
that led you forward. Every decision that has brought you success, and me success, and anybody else who's listening, has come from that space of something that's bigger than you, that has a dream for you, for lack of a better word, that has a design for you, that's waiting for you to find the flow for yourself. And the way to the flow is the truth. You can't do it if you're not in truth. You can't do it if you're abusing yourself. You can't do it if you allow other people to be in your life to diminish you. You are punishing yourself. It is a violent act against yourself to allow other people in your life to diminish you and to not lift you and exalt you. If you don't have other people who see you for the light that you are, for the joy that you are, for the goodness that you bring, you are with the wrong people.
That is right.
How that shows up in
Correct. That is a fact, right? You are your first protector. As an adult, you are the first person to protect yourself. I used to think that, divorce was always bad, right? That, you had to push through, you had to go through it no matter what. If you made a public commitment before people and God, you had to stick it out and work it through. I used to think that every single adult in your life is deserving of respect and honor, regardless of what they do, regardless of what they say. Just because they are an adult in your life, then they deserve your respect and honor, and there's no accountability on their part. That is not true. And not all relationships. I used to think that all relationships, especially family relationships, need to be mended and reattached, and you have to work it out. No. Sometimes those relationships, those reconciliations do not facilitate peace. They facilitate dysfunction. And sometimes the work that is required to get to the root of a problem, to solve it, that journey isn't worth it. And some people are anchored in their error. They are not interested in changing. So some relationships do need to be severed, and that's going to be a good thing for both parties involved, right? We have to open our minds to that reality. Some relationships, you need to end them. They are no good for you. They're no good for that person. I'm not just speaking about romantic relationships, right? Some connections in your life are not beneficial to you. They drain you. They hurt you emotionally. If you enter a room and the person is there, you feel tired, you feel sick, you feel exhausted. They just wear you out. The work and the damage it does to your spirit just being in that person's presence is not worth it, right? And so you have to, according to Oprah, stop punishing yourself. Stop exposing yourself. Stop remaining connected to people who are just an encumbrance in your journey. Why? Who is it that you need to please, that you are afraid or uncomfortable saying, it does not serve me to be a friend, coworker, neighbor, sibling, parent, child, whatever, to this person? We need space. And maybe that separation isn't permanent, but sometimes in the moment, those relationships need to stop so that healing and health has room to enter in, and then you can resume. So I agree with that language that you might just be punishing yourself by keeping in your orbit someone who does not bring life to you.
If it's somebody you're working with, if it's somebody you're in deep relationship with, the reason that person keeps showing up in your life is for you to make the change. You can't change them. That's why The Wizard of Oz is one of the greatest teachings ever.
It's excellent.
It's excellent.
And what I love so much about the Good Witch is that she wasn't really telling Dorothy what to do. She was guiding Dorothy towards herself.
That she was making Dorothy remember. She was helping Dorothy remember. So it's Dorothy who says, I guess I learned that I look no further than my own backyard. The other great teaching of the Good Witch is,
did you pay the apple cart like that?
Oh, you forgot to inject the neighbor's pussy. Oh, now that was right.
Yes, I'm going to
a while ago, you did it.
I'm going to perfect muting my B-roll. I do not yet know how to do that, but our conversation is going great. Again, most of my viewers are going to be watching this after it is posted, and it's going to be a little over 3 hours long, and you can take bite-sized pieces of this. I hope you make it through all of it because it is absolutely great, and there's so many nuggets of truth and principles, and also you will be doing your part in supporting our Chats with Petal to become exceptional and to become great. So if you logged on, even if you were there for a minute, you need to subscribe to the channel and support our Chats with Petal in becoming amazing, right? We're going back to the video.
Way you have no power here. So here's the truth for all of us. You only have power in your own territory. She was saying to the Wicked Witch, you have no power because this ain't your territory. You have nothing to do here, witch.
Exactly.
That's right. And the same thing for all of us. We spend so much time focused on other people's territory that you have no power over. So just take care of your own backyard, your own territory, and not worry. See the things that are showing up in your life are showing up to help you raise your level of maturity, of growth, of consciousness for yourself. That's why it's showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about them.
Oh my
Isn't
gosh.
this is such a great conversation?
It's such a great conversation.
Yes.
We got to have part two.
I'm with Kiki.
Yes.
Yeah, baby, I'm with Oprah.
Great
Oprah.
conversation. Great conversation.
Okay, I'm not going to keep you forever, but you're going to have me on your podcast.
I'm going to have you on my podcast.
Please, so that we can get into some more stuff.
Yeah.
Because I could go on forever, but I'm not going to take all my girls' time. I'll end it with a little game.
Okay.
So basically, I'm going to ask you a bunch of things that you may or may not do. You can tell me yes, no, absolutely not. But I'm nosy, so if there's a story, go ahead, give it to me. Okay.
I'm going to try to answer these questions as well, right? Yes, no. Let's see the direction of this questioning.
Okay, it's would you ever? Okay, so first one, would you ever host another daily talk show?
So I have not yet hosted my first, but look out for me in the future. Our Chats with Petal is going to be international, right? So wait for it.
Well, I think I am actually. I'm doing it twice a week with a podcast. It feels like that because sometimes I do it with an audience. So I love it too. Yeah. A daily is too much. Daily is too much.
Yeah.
But
the medium's changed.
The medium has changed.
Yeah.
And then it has evolved into the podcast is a new way of communicating with people.
And 2 days gives it a little time for things to catch up. You need you need news feed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine the billionaire, right? The billionaire with a B, with the team of producers, lighting directors, writers, editors, publishers, drivers, chefs, wardrobes. But imagine she says every day is too much. And yet us little content creators who are dressing ourselves, getting our lighting, setting up our systems, getting the cords, making sure everything is charged, texting family members to check in with us, producing these entire shows, are expected to do it every single day with full-time jobs, right? Sometimes you really think about how the expectation is it's the same, but the tools available are so vastly different, right?
Take a group vacation.
Who's in the group?
Exactly.
Yes, group vacations are a must. I believe in community. I believe that we excel and we grow and we explode in community, because when you are part of a group of people that support each other, that group could be as small as 3 people, 2 people, 10 people. You are benefiting from the wealth of experience and knowledge and wisdom from everybody in there, and support and fun and upliftment. And it's a vibe, right? That's why shows like Beaches, and there are other shows where people go away with a group of people and they just stay there and create this utopia and no one wants to leave, right? So when you create that utopia within your everyday life, where when you are with these 4 or 5 people, you are networking, you are growing, you are building, you are brainstorming. So you need that group of friends. And if you guys are doing that kind of heavy lifting and working and strategizing, then yes, take the vacation with your group.
So you would take a group vacation, but it needs to be certain folks.
Curated.
Oh,
That's
boy.
right. Yes. How many people max?
10.
Ooh.
Oh, I
And
love
it's
that.
a
Call
10.
me. I'll behave. 10 people. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. But
Love
you're
that.
gonna need 2 cars for all the travel and no. But you can do
Yeah.
10. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that. Okay, sharing clothes with Gail.
No. I don't share things. If once you take something of mine, keep it.
Okay, did you see Gail on Call Her Daddy? So funny, talking about, people thought we were gay. It didn't bother Oprah because she had a man. That gagged me. She's saying that nobody would be hitting on her because they thought she was taking
Yeah.
child.
It's true. That has followed us forever and ever.
It's really cool though to hear you guys talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, and just say how you felt.
It's so interesting because for a long time Maya said don't say anything about it because you only give it power.
Kiki is so
played that
slick,
for a long
but in the
time.
best way.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Now I think Gail goes, I don't care. I'm just going to talk about it. So I think, and my God, if you're still thinking that, then you're an idiot.
Yeah,
you're just an idiot.
It's really.
Did you guys notice how masterfully Keke just dropped that nugget in there? She didn't ask the question about it and didn't raise it, but she mentions it embedded in a joke, right? So it's up to Oprah to take a little bite and see if she wants. And there's also another moment in the video, I'm not sure if you guys caught it, where Keke says, people have had experience with you in movies, and Oprah's entire face changed because of the controversy surrounding her interaction with Taraji P. Henson. And then she said on film, on talk show, in podcast, and then Oprah's entire facade just relaxed. She misunderstood the direction of the question. And I'm wondering if that was, like what was going on there. But yes, absolutely. I love the way Keke got this other giant rumor that has followed Oprah around, got it to be a topic of the conversation without really asking it outwardly. Very good interviewing skills.
It is. Yes. People always do that. Make up stories about, come on, man.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Read spoilers before finishing a book.
No.
Okay, you got a strict program.
Oh yeah, I got strict. I can't finish it if I've read the spoiler.
Correct.
Then there's no reason for me to continue.
Yeah, the
What's
excitement.
your favorite book of all time?
The Blue Sky.
So my favorite, do I have one? My favorite book of all time would probably be I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. I read it twice many years ago. I also love Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. That book, oh my God. To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee. Books that I read more than once and I had to go get them, like books that you can't put down. And like I love A House for Mr. Biswas, V.S. Naipaul, and Annie John by Jamaica Kincaid. Annie John was the first book. It's a coming of age story that made me feel like when people write stories about like the protagonist was a little girl in Jamaica, and so yeah, those. Do I have a favorite of all? If I had to go read a book right now, I think it would be Caged Bird. Yeah. Let's see what Oprah says.
Toni Morrison.
Oh, Toni Morrison.
Never
Yeah.
turned it into a movie.
No, too hard.
Why would you? What do you mean? What do you say?
Too hard. It's just too hard.
Let me just see.
You got a strict program.
Oh yeah, I got strict.
I'm gonna hear the title.
Oh yeah. I can't finish it if I've read the spoiler.
Well,
then there's no reason for me to continue.
What's your favorite book of all time?
The Blue Sky, Toni Morrison.
Amazing.
Who?
Yeah.
Never turned it into a movie.
Never read.
No, too hard.
Why would you say, what do you mean? What do you
Trusty
say?
Too hard.
Kindle.
It's just too hard. It's too hard. Sad little black girls. You know, the story of Blue Sky is, was actually Toni Morrison's first story. And one of the things that surprised me when I had her on the show to talk about this book is that women around the world related to Pecola Breedlove, who is the main character, the little girl who went insane.
Baby, we make way too many decisions every day. That's why I choose Fruit of the Loom's women's underwear.
On my next live, I will be able to silence my video or remove it. But I don't know now. But isn't Keke looking fabulous
Trying to
up
have
there?
blue eyes, little black girl wanting blue eyes. And the message is that everything we've been talking about here today, anytime you're trying to be somebody you're not, it's insanity, because you were only created to be you. So you were.
And let me tell you that as a content creator, that was the hardest thing for me to do when I put the camera on. So I am always practicing for YouTube, right? I'm always walking around the house. I'm always talking to myself. I'm talking to myself in my car, in my classroom. My coworkers know. I am just trying to think about what conversation can I have with my viewers who took the time to click on the link when they didn't have to and join my video. Like, what do I want to discuss, and how do I make that conversation relatable and connected and intimate, right? And so it took me some time. I was worried about my hair. I thought, oh my God, my face is really shiny. I'm stressing about, the clothes I wear. Did I wear the right jewelry? I'm worried about all of the things that really are not contributing to the success of the video and how it lands to the viewers. And I would always remind myself that there are amazing videos I stay and watch till the end where the host does not have hair and makeup on. They threw on a hoodie. She's drinking her coffee. It's first thing in the morning, but the delivery is so excellent and the quality of the content. So I feel like I've freed myself. I feel like I am released. I feel like I am doing less thinking about what I need to say and just saying my thought and not worrying, oops, I hope I said that right. I hope I pronounced that word correctly. I am just freely communicating and being authentic so that the gift of interacting with me is true and sincere, and that I pray for the same thing for when other people interact with me, right? Truest authenticity and my real self. I think that is going to be one of the hallmarks of my channel, and I think it's going to be one of the greatest precursors to my success.
Completely out of alignment if you're trying to be something that you don't have the capacity to be. So understanding your own capacity and who you were meant to be, that's the most important thing. And you can't do that by yourself. You have to ask the power, whether you call it God or not. You have to meditate. You have to sit in gratitude.
Yes.
To say, what do you want from me? Why? You have to ask the big questions of your life in order to continue to move forward. And my journals are filled with, why am I here?
Yes.
Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I really here? Am I here? I'm not just here to have a talk show and have shoes.
Yes.
And have good shoes. What are you here to offer?
But it's so real what you're saying, because it's a broken equation to not acknowledge the you of it all.
Yes.
When you are constantly, that's why some people say, oh, you just show up, you just saw yourself. Well, who else I'm going to be?
Who else you going to be?
That's be me.
Like,
just Petal.
Choices to be Keke.
Subscribe, guys. Subscribe to the channel.
You're just sitting there by yourself. Like, I'm not by myself. I'm actually with myself. I'm never by myself. I'm always with myself.
I love that.
And I am the best company I could ever keep.
Oh, wonderful.
Myself. That's where I feel.
Did it ever get lonely?
I've never experienced loneliness.
Really?
No. I don't even know what that means. I actually don't know what that means.
Well, I guess in this context, it would be not being met. I think most people would maybe think, how many people can Oprah talk to?
Well, I think in my early days, those 20s, which were crazy for me, I think I felt lonely then because I felt I needed somebody to make myself feel whole. I don't feel that anymore. So I feel like I would be one of those people who could, obviously you need connection, relationships, and community. But I am happiest with myself.
I love this. Okay, just a few more.
Very nice.
And go on a reality show. I already know the answer.
You know, I think I would go on a reality show at work. I would often have experiences in the classroom, and I would say, you know what, we should have a reality show that exposes all of that, not exposes, but reveals all of the wonders of education, all of the amazing, great things that happen in classrooms around the country, and also that reveals the struggles both teachers and students are having succeeding in the current structure, right? I think I would be willing, if there's anybody out there, right, if you know of anyone who wants to film a reality TV show about the classroom. I know there's a couple of documentaries where cameras came in and the students were just, going on with business as usual. But if there's anybody out there who wants to film a documentary about teaching and the state of education in this country, in public schools, in the largest city, the most thriving, vibrant, diverse city in the world, sign me up. I'm willing to do it. So I would do that reality show for sure.
You know that anyhow.
Exactly. Read your social media comments.
No, I don't read them.
I'm a baby. I'm a baby online. If I get one comment a week, so I have not missed a comment. I read every single comment. I respond to every single comment, and I wonder, because I'm going toward greatness and I'm going to eventually be receiving more comments than I can read, and I will hire a staff person to read my comments for me. I wonder often if when I get to that point where the comments are flowing in, so it's obviously going to be a mix of positive feedback, constructive criticism, and negative feedback, if I'm going to just be casually reading, right? Just check in, check out, or if I'm going to have someone filter the positives to me and filter out the negatives. Give me the positives and the constructive criticism and filter out the negatives. Because if it is empty, if it's just a jab, then what is its purpose? So I don't know. I think when I get there, I may not be interested in comments that cannot add value to what I'm doing,
Okay.
No, I don't.
No, I don't. Period.
No, I don't.
Be 30 again.
No, I don't want to be 30 again. But I would take 44. I think its life starts at 44.
Woo! Tell me why 44 was so good.
Because you come into yourself in a way that you're no longer trying to please everybody else. You come into yourself. You have I do have some girls now that I've mentored who are in their early 30s who've gotten to it sooner. But for me, it was 44 where I locked in, and I could see the rising for myself. I wasn't just doing things for other people. I wasn't just creating the work.
Did you pay the apple cart like I asked?
So as someone who is in my last year of being in my 40s, I do believe that there is an awareness that comes with your 40s. And again, I don't like using age as a defining, as what dictates what you should be doing, right? I think that is a little bit abstract, and it is soft, right? It's an ombre. You can be at different stages in your life at different ages. I do feel that there is an awareness and an understanding of self that happens after 40s, just because of maybe typically traditionally what you're doing at that point in your life, right? You've gone through your 20s, you've gone through the soul searching and the finding and the decision making and the jobs, and then you're settling into family and you're slowing down and you're trying to choose like more permanent lanes in life. And by the time you're 40, you've kind of been in some sense of normalcy and continuity. So you kind of have 2 decades of adulthood to reflect on, right? In your 30s, you're still you're still preoccupied with the doing, right? But I think something happens in your 40s that you start to reflect, right? And those are some of them are measurable developmental stages of life, right? With caveats, of course. So yeah, I can see that 40s, 45.
Really was in full drive, purposeful living for myself. 44 is when it lost
You
it.
saying that is so interesting about the 30-year-olds that you're working with. I'm curious of what you see in the difference generationally, what was allowed or what was possible for 30 something women in your time, and then when you see the
Yeah.
30 somethings of us
When
now.
I share my stories from my journal, or even actually have the girls look at my journal, they go, golly, what kind of woman were you? And what was it? They can't even believe it. The idea of putting up with somebody who doesn't return a phone call, or somebody who doesn't, all these stories I have about, not running my bathwater because the phone might ring, and so sitting by the window and waiting on the blue dots to show up.
So sweet.
So pitiful. So pitiful. So pitiful. So I see that there's a level of independence and growth
Yeah.
in my daughter girls now that I didn't have.
Mhm.
There's a level of maturity and respect for themselves. And I would have to say I played a big role in that, because for all of my girls, particularly the South African girls, they grew up in environments where they were abandoned. And I used to teach a class at my school called Life 101. And I literally said to them, you're going to have major problems in your relationships unless you get to the point of acceptance that you have been abandoned in your life, because a lot of them lost their parents when they were, because AIDS and, absolutely poverty and crime and all the other things. So you don't want to be, I said, you're either going to be the kind of woman who is going through the pockets of your spouse and looking at the wallet and looking at the phone calls and who did you see and and do you love me enough? Or you're the kind of person who shuts all of that down and you don't let anybody in. So do the work on yourself, for yourself, that gets you to the point where you can have full acceptance of yourself. So you're not blaming the relationships for where you are. And so I've seen that.
And I believe that that's a description of projection, right? When you're putting the responsibility of your decision making on someone else, right? Along with the positive affirmations I make for myself, I often say to myself, girl, you are flawed. You are flawed. And there are things about you that need work and that are imperfect, but you're also an amazing person. So that no one can hold my decision making over my head and own me. No one can dangle a poor decision I made in the past and said, well, guess what? I know a secret. I know what you did. Okay, I did make that. That's who I was in that moment. It wasn't a rash decision. I thought about it. I did it. No one can ever hold the light to me and say, well, this is what you did. This is what you said. This doesn't match who you are. I will never be imprisoned by my choices. Nothing I did in my 20s, my 30s, as a teen, when I moved here to New York City, running up and down Manhattan, like doing what? Working and just running all over the place because of the excitement and the freedom and just making decisions on the fly and just doing dangerous things and risky things. And that it made me nothing but a normal 21, 22-year-old, regardless of the values and the Christian background. In the moment of all of these extremely attractive decisions and choices and just lights, figuratively and literally, you are just going to run toward them, right? So self-acceptance, all of those things are why I am sitting here so comfortably and so confident, because I know who I am and I embrace all of my decision making. I'm exceptional at many things in my life. I'm working on many things in my life, and many times in my life, I probably did not make the best decision. And that is why I'm so beautifully complex and layered. And that's the same for you. I'm never going to let something I did burden me and encumber me forever. Why? Right? And just slow you down and waste your time. Right? I look at the wonders of what I can learn from that and the beauty of it and just move on. Right? There's a lesson to be learned, or maybe, as they said, that's just the thing. That's just what you did. It's part of your growth as a human being. But you have to accept yourself, and you have to remind yourself of all the amazing things about who, like, literally and intentionally say good things to yourself. Do not wait on someone to do that. Say good things to yourself. Let's go back in for the last few minutes
And
of
those girls are
the show.
they're so good at it. They're so good at it. Much better than I was. I mean, I was late.
But it's so good, like you were saying.
Hold on to the bumper, baby. I was saying.
Oprah's funny.
Is that imagery?
Oh my God. No, this imagery. Okay. You see all the people watching from their apartments? Oh my God, that was bad.
Well, I think, you know what, I'll go ahead and leave it there, and I'll just say that what a joy.
It was.
What a joy.
Thank you, guys.
What a joy.
What a conversation.
Man.
Baby.
We went here, there.
Okay.
Look at the time. Oh, you can't see the time on
Have
here.
fun cutting that, y'all.
Okay.
Yes. Oh my God.
For hanging out with me. Baby, this is Keke Palmer. So, oh wait, I have one more thing to show you. I think this will give you a little key.
Okay.
Okay, let me pull this up. Hold on.
Let's see what Keke has, the
Right.
final ending of the show.
Ready to gag?
Yeah, ready, babe.
Please welcome a bright new young talent and the star
Aww.
of The Bear and the Bee, 12-year-old Keke Palmer. Coming out.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness.
No, that isn't.
Wow. Look at
What
life.
year is this?
2005.
You kicked some in this
That's
movie.
it.
Thank you. You were wonderful.
Look at you.
Oh my goodness.
I love this.
Yeah, I did. Doug never gave me a break.
Oh
That's
my
in the
God.
director
That's so good.
I was always some little Doogie Howser. Why did I have this suit on?
I know.
Oh my gosh, I was such a serious
remember
kid.
this.
I mean, if there was ever a full circle moment, people use that word all the time when they say full circle. That is a full circle. Do you believe that that little girl sitting there on that chair being interviewed by, Oprah, who is the greatest to ever do talk shows, imagined that I would be hosting this show and she would be coming out? And how poetic of Oprah to wear a white suit, which is what Keke was wearing that day. There's something that seems, very connected about that. But can you imagine? Like, I am using this as my permission to have expansive dreams, to have dreams that are enormous, gargantuan, and that I'm going to stretch the limits, the boundaries of what I think I can do and what I plan to do. It's beautiful, beautiful moment. I'm so glad I chose this video for my first reaction video.
I mean, don't we all automatically go back to what I was wearing that day?
Oh my gosh, you looked fabulous.
I know.
I love this orange and this hair, this little half up and down do.
I didn't expect to cry. I just went in there and did the best thing I could do. And I went in there and I just started to cry when I was doing the lines. And I just was crying and saying the lines. And then I went and shook all the producers.
12.
Keke Palmer,
He got up and
age 12 actress. Wow.
Age 12.
Okay, I can't wait to talk to you.
I can't wait.
I can't wait to
I
talk to you.
cannot
Okay.
wait.
Okay. I did your podcast. You got to do my podcast.
Love this so much.
Yes, you're the best girl.
Then you can see my backyard.
Yes. My girl, oh.
Guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. It is 3.5 hours long, and I was determined to do it. The reason I continue with the video, even though I saw the time going, is because self-doubt absolutely entered my mind as I was making the video. And I thought, this is so long. No one will ever watch. It is too much. You should cut it. You should do it in 2 parts. You should, just cut the video and do a reaction part 1, reaction part 2. And then in the space of what I was listening to, I said to myself, you deserve a 3-hour listener. You are worthy enough for someone to listen to your video for 3 hours and 30 minutes. It is worth it. You're good enough. Go ahead and do it. You watch it and make it a learning experience. You do not need to cut it to an hour. You do not need to stop. You can do this. I had to speak over the voice in my head that was telling me too much. It's enough. Time to stop. And I did not stop. And I made it to the end of the video. And I am excited about how this first reaction video is going to be the jumping off point for all the other amazing videos I'm going to do in the future, right? I even put my own comments in the video because I said, you know what, I don't have enough live viewers. I know people are going to watch this after the fact, put it on maybe a Sunday evening and let it play and enjoy Oprah and Keke and that full circle moment together. And I put my own comments in the live, in the stream as well, because I'm going to make things happen for myself. I am really excited to get your support. If you are watching this video, particularly if you are one of the viewers to whom I will be most grateful that makes it to the end of this video, I need you to subscribe to my channel at Chats with Petal on YouTube and to go over to Instagram if you're on there at Chats with Petal as well. And we are going to create community and have an amazing time sharing and communicating and growing and being our best selves and being in alignment with our purpose and walking in our truths in boldness and in confidence and just shining bright so people can't wait to be around us in our aura and in our orbit. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Take care. Bye-bye.